of today's lesson. You know, I couldn't just let you get away with Path of the Virtuous Man. Thank you for coming. As brothers have said, it's going to be a very serious lecture. It's going to be very long. You all got time?
Yes.
Okay. We're in very, very interesting times. Again, I'm affirming the fact that in a short while, if the universe is giving me the proper signals, I will be fading from view for a short time. I will be doing private things, but I won't be doing large public events. I think it's time.
Everybody hear about this?
No.
Yeah, I can't shout right now. I have if you want, I could put it up. Okay. I have a very long set of hours to speak, and I have to start off at a jog. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody here for coming out. Once again, your support overwhelms me. You drive me. You are my inspiration. You know, the Queen will tell you that I'm up till 3 and 4 in the morning writing, because I'm about to kind of expose a little bit of myself, who I am. And my queens, this is the brother's time. This is for us. I have kind of, taken my, most of my years in life. I think I have been in the process of life. It's really taken me most time to study my queens, the ultimate enigma. And so now I feel as I'm closing out this cycle, I think it's necessary for me to start dealing with the warriors, the young males. And I'm going to start putting down as much emphasis on the problems that the young brothers are having as I have done with the wounded womb, and what the wounded womb actually meant. I'm still finishing the wounded womb. I added about 100 pages to the book, revamped it, brought all the information up to date, and it's still in sync, and soon I'll have that out. I put together this particular program with the hopes that there is a level of attention that I'm going to need from you, and a level of participation. A level of participation that I'm going to need from you. This is going to be a collective endeavor, a collective effort. And I'll let you know the time when we're going to kind of open the floor for us to speak on certain things. And we're going to begin with the ultimate question. And I'll wait to give you that. Meanwhile, the formal name of this particular lecture, when you're going to make the labels, my brother, is Gendercide. Gendercide. Misandry, or actually demasculating the human equation. This is something that we have not actually taken a deep enough study of. Demasculating the human equation. Part 1. This particular issue will be dealing with the path of the virtuous man as the first phase of our journey on this day-long path. The devolution of men and the covert war on the masculine principle. The saga, in honor, of course, of Khalid, the saga of the persecuted penis. Of course, you know, everything I want to say, I say here, because I want to be correct again. First and foremost, I would like to thank my family, my children, Shamika and Amen, for taking this journey with me as my children, this life around. I wish to thank Nalani for also joining me on this life path. To Sister Medina for all her love and incredible support in her research. I'd like to give thanks to Brother Sarnetta and Brother Big Man, soldiers, foundational soldiers in the community who are out there all weather, or at least in the best weather they can actually find, to pound the pavement, street warriors, to pass on the information. I would also like to include in that rubric Brother Shabazz, Brother Chris, Brother Black Dot, and all the other soldiers that I may not have named out there, speaking the truth to power. I'd like to thank them for taking up the standard when they did and moving it forward in our journey toward collective enlightenment as a people. I also would like to thank Brother Marvin Chambers and Sister Karen Chambers for their support in what we are about to do for the brothers and for the sisters in our community. You'll be hearing, those of you who, after we have made our sabbatical, after we've come back, those of you who will return to join us, will hear more about Brother Marvin Chambers, and that will be pretty much on the masculine side. To Brother Nkosi Gray and to Ladybug Mecca, all my love, and to Brother Nkosi Kimati and his mate for all her support. I'd like to thank Brother Lester for cranking out my tape products. I'd like to give thanks to the brothers of the Soul Brothers Boutique. I'd like to, if you can, give a great round of applause to all of the names that I have just mentioned, because they are so profound in my life right now. And I would also like to make a very special mention to Sister Puma for the beautiful works that she's been doing in the community for us on the Native American, Indigenous American level, which essentially we all are, but very few of the brothers and sisters have maintained that energy to hold that the eagle feather up, to make sure that we know that this land still is occupied. So thank you very much, sister. And finally, to all of you brothers and sisters who reached out to me and my family during that period when my father made his transcendence, thank you from all of us at the Valentine clan. First and foremost, I would like to mention some books that I think is worth reading to the brothers, as well as to the women. Just because I'm focusing on the brothers today, as I was focusing on the sisters before, doesn't mean that the sisters can't participate. I want you all, sisters, to please pay attention to everything that I'm saying, and do not take it in the negative sense. You know the way I teach, but you know where it's coming from. It's a bedrock of love. I deal with warrior words. I don't, mollycoddle, and I'm not a diplomat. I'm trying to learn that, but in the state of mind that I'm in right now, the adrenaline's flowing. So help me out with that by not prejudging anything I'm saying. Any questions, please. It'll be open later on to the floor. Books for brothers especially, but everyone. Books for brothers especially, but everyone. The War Against Boys by Christina Hoff Sommers. The War Against Boys. The Decline of Males. I want you to see all these titles. And I want you to listen to what they're saying. Because we are in battle crisis. You understand? The first line has been breached. And the home front, especially the soul front, is in danger. Heterophobia. The Decline of Males is by Lionel Tiger. Heterophobia, sexual harassment in the workplace, and the future of feminism, by Daphne, D-A-P-H-E-N, Patai, P-A-T-A-I. The Myth of Male Power by Warren Farrell. When She Was Bad, Women and the Myth of Innocence by Patricia Pearson. Oh yeah, it's going to come out today. Sick and tired of all the television programs and movies put out about abuse coming from only one sector of the society, perception-wise. In fact, the statistics are completely the opposite. They are 50-50 at par. And you will see what is being done about that. Abused Men by Philip W. Cook. This one was banned by the feminists. It was translated from the German. It's called The Manipulated Man by Esther Vilar, V-I-L-A-R. The feminists went on an all-out attack against this book. I suggest you get it. The Manipulated Man by Esther Vilar. Another book by Warren Farrell called Why Men Are the Way They Are. I know every woman will want to run out for that one. A lot of people have accused me of not giving you books. I think I've given you hundreds of books over the time that I have been doing this. I think. So I'm just fulfilling that. Another book by Warren Farrell, very interesting title, and I don't know how to do it because I just scanned it. It's called Women Can't Hear What Men Don't Say. And that has huge ramifications when it comes to how we communicate. Another one is called Feminist Fantasy. Which one? Oh, I said Warren Farrell. F-A-R-R-E-L-L. The Masculine Mystique. The Politics of Masculinity. That's the same title. By Andrew Kimball. K-I-M-B-A-L-L. Feminist Fantasies. By one of the most hated women on the planet, as feminists are concerned. Kind of misguided in her understanding of history.
What's the title?
It's called Feminist Fantasies. Feminists hate this woman. Her name is Phyllis Schlafly. Phyllis Schlafly, S-C-H-L-A-F-L-Y. And these are written by women, by the way. Domestic Tranquility by Carolyn Greglia, G-R-E-G-L-I-A or A-G-L-I-A, I'm sorry. Yeah, Eglia, Greglia. And one that really, another book that was actually banned by the feminists, Prone to Violence, by Erin, female's name is Erin, E-R-I-N, Pizzey, P-I-Z-Z-E-Y, foreigners. Let me see, there was others that I was actually going through in my catalog. Spreading Misandry, M-I-S-A-N-D-R-Y. That, they talk about misogyny is hatred of women. Well, misandry is hatred of men. Misogyny is the female. Misandry. You haven't heard misandry in the social lexicon, have you? No. Why not? We're going to find out today. That's by two authors, Paul Nathanson and Catherine Young. The actual subtitle, I believe, if I remember, it was called Teaching Contempt for, I think it's Teaching Contempt for Men in Popular Culture. Teaching Contempt for Men in Popular Culture. There are two other books that I saw as references in my research. It's called The Emotional Terrorist and The Fatherless Society, and these came from Germany. And I don't remember the name, but look under this guy. He did something called The Gender Agenda by Dale Leary, O'Leary, O-L-E-A-R-Y. Now, if you all are interested, and I'm going to put it down here, I suggest that you take this number down, because I know this is something that is going to be very delicate to talk about as far as men are concerned. But men are abused at the rate of 46% in this society. You don't see the statistics. Men are afraid to retaliate because we're going to discover what has been done in this society to emasculate and demasculate you. When I talk about these in private, because most of the times as men, we want to give you as women the sense of security to be with us, or else your own instinct and nature would not want to be with us. So we have to constantly maintain whatever kind of testosterone radiating energy that would make you feel secure and thus make you feel like you want to be with us. So when abuse is actually spoken about, it kind of takes men down 2 notches. So this is something we speak about in private. And I have seen them and I've heard about them long before it's now becoming popular, and I intend to make it popular, that men are not what you think we are. And what is happening is that I don't see enough or hear enough of our black men or black women speaking to this situation, because the atmosphere has become so feminized, it's not PC. But there is a domestic abuse helpline for men, by the way, and I'm going to get out there for you. And it's 1-877-643-1120, 643-1120, 1-877. Now, with all that out of the way, I want you to understand that this is not just simply going to be about us talking about abuse. In the first half of this, I'm going to be speaking directly to us as men, and I'm going to really request the empathy of the women in this, so that you could see what your sons, your fathers, your brothers, your nephews, stepsons, godsons, who we're about. We always extol you. It is in our nature to provide and protect for you. So what has happened to us? What has happened to us as men? Beloved brothers and sisters, as I have said, excuse me, let me get comfortable. As I have said over the past few months, Beloved brothers and sisters, as I have said, excuse me, let me get comfortable. As I have said over the past few months, I have reached the point in my life when the Spirit has again given me instructions to ready myself to undertake a new direction in this stage of my life. And as these instructions become clearer, I find myself seeking to clarify a few things, paramount of which, what, as an indigenous man, will be my role in the uncertain future of my world, my community, and my family. And what must I become to manifest the best example of a man for everyone concerned? I've decided to forego certain planned lecture topics of the present and instead take up a subject I had planned for a future book. A vital, crucial, critical topic concerning my gender brothers. A topic I am sorry to say and humbly willing to admit I have long overlooked. This subject is a work in progress, a book of evolving notes to myself, about myself, evolving words attempting to match the evolution and ascendance of my own evolving perception. I dedicate this specific or particular title, again, to my father and all the men of my bloodline that preceded me, and pray that as they look down to guide me from the astral realm and the ancestors' realm, that they see in me the culmination of the best they may have discovered in themselves while they were in the flesh. I want them to see as I see when I view with pride my sons and my daughter, that the bloodline continues to transcend and will continue to do so long after I have left them. That said, I now expand my dedication to include all of the women in my life and the lives of those men who seek a higher threshold of perception as men, but have heretofore been frustrated by this society's government and the feminist disease called equality that has done more to derail the potential for true health, happiness, and harmony in the black community over the last 40 years than the last 400 years of captivity and all the AIDS viruses, TB, high blood pressure, police murders, and drugs, because up to now we have not recognized as a people the subtle, insidious forces orchestrating our chaos. What I have come to define as the metaphysics of oppression. So as I approach what will be the 7th year of this cycle of my sojourn on the metaphysical teaching path, I consider it fitting that I call attention to the 7th Hermetic principle of existence, the principle of gender. I feel that it is not only fitting but terminally crucial because the metaphysical war against humanity has been prosecuted by the archons through a systematic attack, perversion, deconstruction, and disfigurement of the archetypal templates of cosmic law as they are articulated through the words of our ancestors in the 7th Hermetic principle of existence in the Kybalion. Chi, Balion, Chi, Ba, Chi, the soul, the Ba of the lion. This universal energy of the soul as it manifests through the lion fire of the heart. With the destabilization of the preceding 6 principles, the 7th and final resting place of universal intent as manifested in the bipolar duality that is man is in a terminably inevitable state of disarray. The principle of gender, the 7th principle, has now come unraveled. Cosmic law is now interfered with and interpreted through the dictates of the insane. Liberals who hold a kernel of truth profess to own the whole damn cornfield, as do the conservatives. And we live in the middle of a forced choice between the two, not realizing that the same puppet master maintaining control over our lives does so by controlling the deeds of the philosophies of both. So, what are we doing and what are we going to do as we analyze the metaphysics of oppression? What are we going to do? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to show you how the puppet master has split the truth into two polarities, setting up what appears to be resonating extremes concerning our socio-political, religious, and interpersonal perceptions of life, which is exactly what they have done to the working perception of the principle of gender and the cosmic laws governing the relationship between the crown of creation, a man and a woman. But first, by popular request, a few bulletins dealing with the black news. Welcome to the Dark Matter Think Tank. Are we here? Today, those of you present should consider yourselves visiting fellows to this auspicious gathering of metaphysical and intellectual masters. Item, new movie, Blackjack, needs scrutiny. It's a cultural pimp musical ripoff. Jack Black, Black Jack. Jack Black, Black Jack. 21, they win. 21 years ago, 1982, the systematic campaign to rip off and replace black faces with white faces singing soul, R&B, blues began in earnest. 21, Jack Black. Reverse it, Black Jack. 21 years ago, music and music appreciation was removed from black schools, curriculums, and the primary school levels. 21 years ago, school stores, musical stores, and pawn shops carrying musical instruments in our community began to be phased out in the greater New York area. 21 years ago, it was surmised after the damage that the Black Power movement did to the minds of the cattle what the music was the force, what the music did enforce. The glue that brought us together was the music. 21 years ago, they began the campaign to destroy it. Jack Black, Black Jack. Black music had to be destroyed or co-opted. They chose the latter. 21 years ago, a new child grew out of this campaign of creative suppression, hip-hop. And since the last generation was deprived of their chance to evolve by way of their legacy, when hip-hop was co-opted over the last 10 years, nothing was being cultivated to take Michael's place, to take Janice's place, to take Luther's place, to take Barry's place, to take EWF's place, to take Aretha's place, or to take Whitney's place. Only bleached out soul-sucking vampires like Brittany Houston, or Brittany Spears Houston, Justin Timberlake, some new 16-year-old British scarecrow named Josh Stone, who they say is poised to become America's newest voice of soul. Listen.
When you hear this soulful voice, hard to believe it's coming from someone just 16. It just blows you away that
she's saying such death. Move over, American Idol. Look what just came out of Britain. It's not just that Josh Stone can sing like an old-time R&B artist, but some of America's most famous old-time R&B artists have been drawn to her. She's kind of an anomaly in the soul game because, of course, she's British and she's white. I understand it. You have to come from a certain place. You have to be a certain color or like a certain person. Josh has the looks of a pop star like Britney, but a voice that hits the notes more like Whitney. The 16-year-old phenom discovered soul when she was barely out of diapers. The first song I remember really being able to sing really well was the Whitney Houston song, I Will Always Love You, and she was about 5. And I can remember listening to, I thought the CD upstairs, and then I realised that was actually Joss. An American record producer discovered Joss at 14 when she won a British talent show similar. I remember really being able to sing really well was Miami. I mean, that was actually Joss. An American record producer discovered Joss at 14 when she won a British talent show similar to American Idol. To truly tap into her soulful sound, Joss teamed up with a roster of veteran 70s R&B stars, including Miami soul pioneer Betty Wright.
She has a good feeling for this. So hey, sky's the limit.
Now she's poised to be America's newest voice of soul.
Did you hear what they just said? Oh, I don't think you heard. I don't think you heard what.
Betty Wright.
She has a good feeling for this. So hey, sky's the limit.
Now she's poised to be America's newest voice of soul. Incredible. Again, Joss Stone will perform live in our next half hour. And I want to tell you that Buck Brides, the TV series, you can see it premieres tonight on the Discovery Channel. Well, I can tell we have a huge...
I want you to see it. It's continuous. It's continuous. It comes one after the other until you become part of it and you don't even know you're in it and supporting it. I want to go to the next phase. Listen. Yes, listen carefully.
After I sort of felt like, well, you know, you want to be a good sport. And there were a lot of people watching, and then how did I get myself...
I want you to listen to the apologistic...
I didn't do nothing mentality of the feminists in this interview. Listen carefully. Now, not to say what happened was correct, okay? But understand, when you put yourself there and you go stargazing, now it's their fault.
You know, how stupid can I be? All right, let's go back. How did I get myself...
Watch her cut her admittance and jump in very quickly to make sure she steers the person who is in conducting the interview is steering the interview so that there's no culpability. Listen carefully.
And there were a lot of people watching, and then how did I get myself, you know, at the hotel, and then how stupid can I be? All right, let's go back a little bit. Tell me what happened. Well, I knew. I was interviewing him. He was, and I always thought it was more about power than about sex, and he was sort of messing with my legs, and I think it was more just trying to distract me, left his gold American Express card behind, really demanded that I ring it back, wouldn't trust anybody else with it. I picked up my daughter, which I think probably was, I don't know if it was conscious or unconscious at the time. Called him from the house phone in the hotel, he said, please bring it up, I'm on a conference call, it's really important. When I knocked on the door to hand him the card, he had only a pair of very tight, somewhat buttoned blue jeans on, no socks, no shirt, and said, come on in, lose the kid. And so, I mean, how did I get myself in that circumstance?
Now she's got amnesia.
How did I get myself in that circumstance? No culpability, no responsibility. Let somebody else answer that question. I can't. Watch very carefully how the mind slips into a place where she knows she will be comforted by that lack of discretion. And it would all be falling on him. Not saying that that was correct. I'm saying that's usually the slant of the narrative to shift the weight of blame. How could that have possibly been?
Who are they talking about?
See, the women knew.
Okay.
Watch.
I had told somebody about it off camera years ago. I never said anything about it because, as I said, I thought it was stupid, not dangerous. And the reason I said something about it, as again, I didn't say anything about him in particular, is I was on a local RWR's morning show, and they woke me up and said, "Will you talk about this?" And I said, "No." We went back to sleep. And they called and said, "We're going to go with it anyway. You might as well be here for clarity." And I said,
She don't want to talk about it.
Go with it anyway. It's juicy.
okay. My producer, the tone of the conversation was light. A couple hours later, my show, which is nationally syndicated, my producer said, "Do you want to talk about this?" And I said, "No, I really don't." Which I think was my speaking, the on-air light goes on, and all of a sudden I find myself not talking about him. I never referenced him, but the notion that somehow when a woman accuses a powerful man of any misconduct, it's assumed she's a liar, a slut, has something to gain from it.
Has that fall out from that?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's really interesting because my point is, listen, somebody has got to protect women who feel that they can't speak out because of reprisal.
Now,
Experienced it the other way. As soon as I've seen it in the media that when a woman accuses a man, automatically he's fucked. How did she now switch it around to make me, or at least make me want to believe that as soon as you accuse a powerful man, that somehow she's a slut? That didn't get to me. I didn't get that around. I knew he must have done something fucked up if all these women were coming around. You see what I'm saying? But she had to make sure that the slant of the narrative was on the female side. Understand what's going on, brothers and sisters.
It's been a storm that I just couldn't have anticipated.
What's been the people calling your show? Calling your names?
Well, both. The first is that when I went on the air about it, an outpouring of women just being frustrated and sad and confused and angry. How could this happen? And at the
happened. You went up to his hotel at night, 1 and 2 in the morning, to give him back his card that you could have mailed or sent a messenger with? But oh, mea culpa, maxima culpa.
At the end of that time, men, women are sending each other the wrong signals. Women have to be aware of red flags earlier and say no. Men have to really be willing to ask. I actually wrote Arnold Schwarzenegger a letter earlier and say no. Men have to really be willing to ask. Women are sending each other the wrong signals. Women have to be aware of red flags earlier and say no.
They teach you that shit? From the time you are this long, hey, I taught my daughter that. Red flags, she has to become aware of red flags. A grown woman has to now find out what the man's what. The first thing you learn when you turn 13, what the man's after. Your mother teaches you that. Keep your legs crossed. That just somehow evaporates when you become a woman and you decide to go and sneak into and see a powerful man. You starstruck. All of a sudden, everything your mother and father taught you goes out the window, and you have to be taught when to see red flags. Give me a... Excuse me.
I actually wrote Arnold Schwarzenegger a letter that said, whether you're governor of California or not, this wasn't ever about you. You've got daughters. You, more than anybody else, could help people understand. There was a study done about 10 years ago where they showed both men and women a picture of a smiling woman. Women said, oh, she's friendly. Men said, she's seductive. Well, it's that basic. And yeah, there have been, people have been yelling at me, why are you doing this? Why didn't you say something years ago? And I went to a party and I was going to put on this cute little dress and I thought, everybody will think I'm a slut. Wait a minute, what's that about?
Well, let me ask.
Crotch cutter dress. It's cute. To whom? When you go out in clothing that pollutes my visual environment to arouse me. Women don't get dressed because it's cute. Women get dressed to attract. This is bullshit. This is that cognitive dissonance that women tend to have when they do not want to assume responsibility for what they are doing. It is your fault if part of my pubic hair is showing from under my skirt. I want you to understand the logic that we have to deal with. This is not, it's cute because we're now playing it because we know who we are here. This is not bashing time. This is about think tank time. You see, that's why I tell my daughter from the time she was young, when you are with your boyfriend, you make sure that you are modest and that you're... I want you to understand the logic that we have to deal with. This is not, it's cute because we're now playing it because we know who we are here. This is not bashing time. This is about think tank time. You see, that's why I tell my daughter from the time she was young, when you are with your boyfriend, you make sure that you are modest and that your clothing befits what I trained you as, a young lady and a young woman, because that young man has his own internal dictates to protect you with his life. If you are doing something that endangers his life because you're wearing something that attracts attention unduly by some lowlife, you put his life in danger trying to protect you.
Mrs. Schwarzenegger
behaved badly toward women in the past. Is that enough for you? Do you want to hear him say something more? Do you want to hear him apologize for each of these things that he's been accused of, if in fact they are true?
What I would have liked him to say at the beginning is, look, I've been a bad boy in the past.
See, now the mother takes over. She is now, by third and fourth, by proxy, chastising. I've been a bad boy. Oh, the bad girl didn't come into it. I've been a bad boy at 2 o'clock in the morning. What signals are you sending to Arnold when you're coming to his house at 2 in the morning?
times have changed.
I am now ascending to a position of great power and
But that's
authority.
pretty vague, and that's sort of what he said.
Well, no, but he didn't say to begin with, and he is still alleging that those 6...
See,
He is saying now, I've done it. Sorry to all the women who I've done all that things to, whatever it is I've offended. Matter of fact, I put my own apologies to women in the front of Wounded Womb, if you read it, and said, if I have offended you, whatever it is, you know, mea culpa. But what she wants, she says, is that enough? She wants castration. She wants him to hold his dick in his hand and say, I am so sorry. You have to remember that the feminist hates men. I don't care what you tell me about what has been gained for women. We understand that. But feminists who have led this charge hate men. And the reason why I'm saying that is because as I investigated it, and I'm Libra, I have to deal with balance. I always seek that. That's what pains me. It pisses me off because my nature always, I don't care who you are, good friend, bad, I mean, if you're my closest friend, if you're wrong, I'm going to tell you. If I wait a distance, I will try to tell you, listen, nah, here's what you need to be doing. And when I keep digging deeper to try to find out what I need to tell my brothers, this fucking feminist keeps coming up. She keeps coming up, and she's not a she. I'm calling the energy a she, or an it. We're going to investigate that. It's not even that. We're going to find out what it is that impedes. But you see, first and foremost, we're going to go through this.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. And, I mean, he knows. And does he remember any particular woman? It would not surprise me if he doesn't. I do believe he thinks he's being playful, but it's not playful. Cat and mouse feels real different to the cat and the mouse. And I would like him to say, it's not only me, it's all men.
Listen now to how the feminist now pushes the agenda across by calling, I want you to understand, my brothers, that the war is subtly being waged on a level that you just may not even be paying attention to it, because you see, as men, the little things you don't pay attention to. The woman is extremely good at detail. That's what I learned from her. You understand? That's why my work became so, that's why they used to call me the right and exact Reverend Valentine. Because my mother and my girlfriend, they all used to do things to make me make sure that if I did second guess shit, did I think of that? She keeps me on guard, and that's what she is supposed to do. She is supposed to help us micromanage ourselves, because she is the creature of detail. But when it reverses and turns into the feminist energy, okay, now we're going to go.
Listen now to the same girl we talking about. This is Josh, or Josh Stone, is about to, or poised, remember, to take money from Angie Stone. And I want you to listen to what it is that they are saying is poised to take over America.
Well, we should all have to into this big bang thing. Huge, as we say here in the States. Huge. You're wonderful. For her day
Black woman, by the way,
whole session
listen up.
singing Super Duper Love, the Super
It's
Duper.
called Super Duper Love. I want you to hear that you got to know that this is a white boy who wrote this. And black people, well, I just want you to listen to it. Tell me if you can actually see how many musicologists we got here. Okay. How many musical historians who remember the passage of music that it came from the African blues? You studied it, right? As a matter of fact, they're doing this heavy show on 13 with Clint Eastwood, but he loved black people. All right, well, check it. I want you to listen to this.
Thank you.
What part of the United States? Yes. Good. See, I love it. Come on, think tank. Yes!
I was looking at Jews when they came to town, but they said Motown sounded like my niece.
Wait. I want you to hear now. What's her name?
Carl Thomas?
Joss Stone. What's she singing? No, what was the style from? With Memphis. What's Memphis? Oh, no. Oh, no. Memphis. Go back.
Back. Who? No, back. 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 Yes!
Oh, Memphis! Oh, my God! Oh, he kept saying back. All right.
Understand now that white people are going back to your holy grounds, and they are picking up the sound frequencies necessary for them to adjust whatever little bit of artificial melanin they got through the music. Remember, I told you, in the 60s and 70s, the music are what motivated us because it came from our souls, and it was what the cosmos gave us as the adjunct to our drive towards freedom. It had to have music to it because we were in tune with the music of the cosmos. So what do you do if you want to circumvent a movement towards liberation? You co-opt the music, the frequencies necessary to hold that frequency in place. When Malcolm was out, when Martin was out, the music was there. A little bit more and I'll show you. Come on, historians. No. Yeah. Yeah. And yes! I love this crowd. Dark Matter Think Tank, say oh! Yes! I know, brother. That's why we're here. Carla Thomas. Her father used to sing, do the funky chicken now. Rufus Thomas. Are you getting the idea yet? Are you reading the metaphysical blueprints? I keep telling my brothers and sisters, pay attention. Pay attention. Okay. We got the analysis. I want to move forward to something else. And I want you to listen to this very carefully. This is the black news. We ain't even gotten into the, what do you call it yet? So y'all just hang on. I know you're all here for a while, I hope. Good. Good, very good.
Well, it's all very playful, yeah. So was the tiger.
Okay.
My prosecutor and lawyer, and so my question is, how, when women come forth and say he groped me, and granted it was all very playful, yeah, so was the tiger at Siegfried and Roy, but when they say they were groping, how can you prove that? I mean, if you don't have videotape, how can you prove that you were groped?
Sometimes people say, well, I don't have any evidence. I can just testify about. Well, that's evidence. I mean, somebody saying this happened to me is, the legal jargon is direct evidence.
So now, just word.
It's good. Okay? I just want to go forward, and I want to deal with a incredible feminist think tank that speaks to the most trivial and bullshit matters that our society can muster enough commercials to support. Listen.
When you vote, like with Clinton, the same thing with Clinton. They're interested, are you pro-choice? Are you against guns in the schools? Are you for education? They vote for issues like that. Yeah. And they can overlook this obnoxious behavior that the president had and that this guy's doing. Why do you believe, let's say, the stories could be lies, but some may be true, but if you're a woman or a man and you believe them, that wouldn't impact at all on how you vote for somebody? Well, I think that depends on the choice. Arnold is more liberal to me than most of the candidates running. He's that liberal position. Very moderate. And women tend to vote like that. You know what else? I think women are much harder on other women. I think we judge other people's behavior by our own behavior. We like to stand in their shoes. So we assume they're liars? Not so much liars, but we'll do things like, we saw this in Anita Hill. We saw this in Paula Jones. We saw this, and we see this in a lot of cases where women make accusations. Women say, well, I wouldn't have gone in that room. I would have reported it a long time ago. I would not allow somebody to come and put their hand on my behind. Women do that a lot. A lot of these women were just standing around minding their own beeswax, and he came around and touched them in different places. So I don't think that women are not unsympathetic to those women, because, they could be standing there too. I don't think that's the issue here at all. But then that person might say, well, why didn't she say something this? Right. But it makes sense as we do a discussion, but I'm talking, you asking me, they let off the hook, and neither should Clinton have been let off the hook. But if I say to you, Meredith, because you're obviously the father here, right? If I said to you, would you vote for somebody who was, who groped women, or somebody who was not pro-choice, who would you pick? See, that would be a tricky one, wouldn't it? If the guy who didn't grope anybody was not pro-choice, would you vote for him? But he didn't grope anybody. By the way, nobody's come out and said that he actually had sex with them. So the girl, obviously, the ones he slept with are pretty happy about it.
Check the logic.
Non-vote would be a vote. I know, but I have a conscience too, so I don't know what I would do. I mentioned before the three most dangerous words it's a girl. Because
I want you to listen to this next segment because this is crucial.
divorce rates all around the world, and they found that in families with a girl, the people were much more likely to divorce than families with a boy.
Did you hear that? Listen carefully again.
The more girls you have. Yeah, I figured out. I thought I was always daddy's little girl. But apparently, well, the estrogen in the house. But maybe, what do they mention? I don't know. No, what's amazing to me by that study is that if I had other boys, I'd still be married.
Did you just hear what?
If she had a boy, she'd still be married. We got it. We got it. Thank you.
The father would rather stick around for a son than a daughter, or that they're scared that the boy can't handle a breakup as well as the girl can, that she's emotionally stronger than a boy. I don't know.
They're saying now, they're rationalizing why a man leaves. All right?
No, the girl can stay with the mother. The mother. The girl takes baths with her mother. They groom each other. They're like little monkeys together. All with the daughter. It's not like that. That's not true. Well, you don't take baths with your dad. We don't take baths. Different connection. Yeah, but that's a huge.
This is the only one that ever. This is the only one out of the group said anything. It was the big, huge black woman.
You have a great relationship with your dad. You know your now. Okay. Yeah. I had a great relationship growing up with my stepfather. Yeah. I mean, the best thing that ever happened to me is the reason that I'm not saying you don't have a great relationship with the father. I'm not talking about that. But he would never leave. I mean, his girls are his life. Now he got grandsons, so we've been replaced.
See, now he has grandsons. He done kicked her to the curb. That's what they're saying. I want you to pay attention to.
In effect, I did my research on what they did their research on, and guess what? It's real. And we're going to investigate that and how that relates to us as men. Okay? Now, moving right along with the black news, I think you were around when we told you like 3 or 4 months ago, well, even, no, it was earlier this year, that they were getting ready to come out with the new money. That's my son, everybody. Everybody give it up for him. Thank you. And his lady friend. Thank you, son. He came through with Demolition Man for me. Give thanks. I know that we told you what was getting ready to happen. Now, here's what the deal is, everybody. I want you to get ready. I've been keeping my eye on the market, and the word is that this multicolored money is going to be depreciated by 50%. The multicolored money is going to be inferior to the euro dollar now. They want to put the $20 bill into circulation. But check it now, the $20 bill in circulation at this point is to get you conditioned to deal with all the rest of your currencies like this. Because in the next 2 to 3 years, they're supposed to move in with the 5 and the 100 and the 50s. But this 20 is supposed to be the new, if you accept this 20, here's the deal. If you accept this 20, listen carefully, you cannot exchange this kind of currency for any other foreign currency ever. Let me just say this again to you. You cannot exchange this new currency for any other currency outside of the United States of America. In other words, you are going to be effectively sealed within your own borders so that you cannot trade outside of the borders that this dollar restrains you to. Therefore, you cannot deal with an international financing, trading situation unless you go through a whole lot of different routes and actuaries and all that. Let me just say this again to you. You cannot exchange this new currency for any other currency outside of the United States of America. In other words, you are going to be effectively sealed within your own borders so that you cannot trade outside of the borders that this dollar restrains you to. Therefore, you cannot deal with an international financing, trading situation unless you go through a whole lot of different routes and estuaries and all that. Understand that we are being herded into a framework for lockdown. We already have in place the places, the camps, the thatch houses that can hold up to 10, 20, 100,000 people on these military bases that they closed. Now, why can the government now institute situations where they can herd the people? Why is it that the government can move in now and take your children, and even you? Why is that? Well, I'll tell you why it is. The men, we have lost manhood. See, men who are free thinkers won't take no shit from no government. Understand that men do not allow their families to be broken up. Men do not allow their children to be taken from them by any agency of the government. Men would not allow no court standing before no white man or black man to tell him what he needs to do with his family. If you fucking up, then we have to deal with the conditions that have created you this insane chaos in your family. And then we work it out amongst the men. But the men had to step forward and make sure, as we did back in the days, that they weren't abusing their wives and their children. But we don't have that collectivity anymore. There's a commercial currently running on TV right now that I don't think that y'all heard. It's called The Enforcer, where they got the woman enforcing the law for her young son to not take drugs. She's the enforcer. No, she's not the enforcer. His father is the enforcer. I remember when I was coming up, whew, wasn't no shit in the house. All we need to hear was, wait till your father gets home. You talk about the quiet of a cemetery. You walk like a monk, head bowed, cleaning dishes when you weren't asked to clean dishes. Order was struck by the presence of a man. And what about the Taliban women 2 years after this madness? Freedom, emancipation. We're going to get rid of them Taliban because they're torturing their women. Well, we didn't tell you what the Taliban did. See, all their women were out there whoring and scoring and prostituting. They were teaching Western American ways. The women had jobs. The children were running in the streets. They were crazy. What would push men to do that to something so precious to them as their women? Unless it must have been something as a last resort, something crazy. And they had to be insane to do what they did. But there was insanity in the whole culture at the time. When the Taliban took over, they got rid of the drug trade. They got rid of pornography. They got rid of every goddamn thing that reminded them of the Western white man and his woman. And who were the first to tell us about the Taliban? Feminists. They came on there all in their Hollywood style and stood up and said, these women are tortured. They can't even go to school. They can't even drive a car. But what the fuck are we doing? We going to school and we still dumb. We still stupid. Breathe. Item. College seniors sodomize their freshman counterparts as a hazing ritual. What kind of shit is that? who is guiding these young men into thinking that that's somehow an initiation that they feel they need? That's what the Greeks used to do. Huh? Ain't that what they do in college? They become Greeks. Huh? I keep telling them brothers who wearing them goddamn brands on their arm, who going in there to pledge Greek, cider, fighter, biter, and all that dumb shit. Open up a Kemetic fraternity. Start calling on your ancestors' names. I know what that Greek shit is. That's that boule conditioning. They're getting you ready to take care and become the front line defense against us for Rockefeller and the rest of those snakes. So they get hold of your children very early to find out who the intelligence ones is. That's why I snatched my son out the school system. Bright, finished school before he turned 16. Right through. Was taking the so-called, what do you call that test that, yes, no, not the SAT, the thing to get his high school diploma, the GED. Went in there, everybody was over 40. He was the only one there at 15, 16. Yeah. And he got 3 wrong. 3 wrong in both the math and the English. That's him right there. When they attacked my son in the school that you know, he was sent to because the family wanted to deal with an experiment, when they attacked him that day in the cafeteria in front of the teacher, and the teacher with no ball sitting there watching that happen, first thing I did was to take him out of the school, put him in Moses Powell School. Now he's dangerous. And I homeschooled him. Had to go up against BCW. Brought BCW into my damn house. 2 women. 2 women. When they came in there, they saw 20 candles lit. They saw pyramids hanging. They saw Kemetic statues. When they walked in, they couldn't help but surrender. When they left, they said, "How can I join?" That's what I'm talking about. You see, when the magic, when we know who we are and we profess it. And the thing about it is, when they came to the door, they were all brass and what do you call it? Just told them, "Go get your father," and all this kind of crap. And he was taught to be very straight with his elders and so forth. Sat us down in the middle of this circle that I got him in, and you know I powered that circle before I sat him in it. Sat him in the circle, and she started talking to me. I said, "You don't have to talk to me. Conduct the interview with my 14-year-old son." I said, "I ain't got nothing to say to you all. If I got something to say to you all, y'all be pissed with me." So they conducted the interview with him, and he blew their minds. See, they didn't know that when he was 7, he was doing calculus. Because we didn't send him to school. I sent him to Brother Kafra. Y'all know Brother Kafra. Sent him to him. He woke up in the morning doing meditation, doing yoga, doing Tai Chi. Then after all that tension was gone, he could sit down and pay attention. No goddamn candy. He had juices. He ate right. No meat, no garbage, nothing. His intellectual acuity was through the roof. He was even taken around to all the colleges to show what he was being doing. They would not fund Brother Kafra, but guess what? It's all right. It's quite all right. You understand? It's quite all right. Schools dedicated to gays and lesbians. A whole school. But I wouldn't be surprised because we got a faggot for a mayor. Cold up faggot. Now, am I cold? Am I raw? Yeah, this is raw. Ain't no bullshit here in this thing. This is about being raw. You know, if I was to come up, you heard me speak in front of large crowds before. Y'all were there. I'm very eloquent, aren't I? I don't say one swear word. Now, am I cold? Am I raw? Yeah, this is raw. Ain't no bullshit here in this thing. This is about being, you know, if I was to come out, you heard me speak in front of large crowds before. Y'all were there. I'm very eloquent, aren't I? I don't say one swear word. Only when I feel comfortable with my family. You know? Because I know that's how y'all talk. So why come up here with airs and bullshit, y'all? Now, let's move forward to Arnold. My son could do Arnold real good. He blew my mind. He left a message. Nothing. Yeah, California. Anyway, let's move on because we got to get to the meat of this. Arnold Schwarzenegger is not and has never been anything that he has pretended to be. Arnold is one of the boys from Brazil. Has anybody ever heard of the boys from Brazil? See, y'all weren't paying attention. Arnold is one of the boys from Brazil. I suggest that you get that movie starring Gregory Peck and Sir Laurence Olivier. For one to overstand this, we must do as in-depth a retrospective of his life as we possibly can, given the fact that, like Kaiser Soze, he's protected from on high by the Prince of Darkness himself. Arnold, as everyone knows, is the son of a Nazi mother and father. He has been theorized to be a child of eugenic breeding programs conducted by the Nazis in which the SS officers were mated to pure Aryan females. Thousands, and I mean thousands of births occurred. His roots can be composited by analyzing his circle of close intimate friends, like director James Cameron. Director James Cameron did the Terminator series. You ever saw it? Director James Cameron did Aliens. Okay. He, director James Cameron, like William Friedkin, the director of The Exorcist, Part 1, works with the CIA, NSA, covert subliminal mind control experiments that they purposefully imbued in their movies. The Exorcist was an experiment in mass crowd mind control. When you get the original version, it has essentially all types of subliminal, subsonic embeds of terror, of murder, of pigs squealing as they're being slaughtered, as gorillas are crying out, children. All these things were put at sub-audio level during the times of the horror scene, and that's what cranked up the horror in you. Now, they're doing it, the same thing, in your rap music. It's done in the rock music. You don't see or you don't have any control over the final product after you put it down on the tape. But after they take it and they hook it up, you are saying all kind of shit underneath words that you know you ain't had nothing to say. You didn't say those words. That's why Cameron is about to re-release Aliens. Like Friedkin re-released The Exorcist. What was that about? To test the pulse of your susceptibility to mind control. Because thousands, millions of people went to see the new version of The Exorcist with new clips that they had put in. Anybody see the new Exorcist? You saw it? Did you see her going up the stairs backwards like a spider? That's a real disease. It's called tardive dyskinesia, where your body twists out of its natural shape. In other words, I could touch my back of my head with my ass. Tardive dyskinesia. And if you take the drug and you don't have it, it will give you tardive. Okay? Arnold, an airhead weightlifter on drugs with a Nazi family, just so happens to marry right into the Illuminati bloodline. Accident? I think not. Arnold, his whole life has been orchestrated from early on. His reputation as a very ambitious man is nothing to do with it. He did not have all this much ambition. This persona was the front to cover the fact that his life was being groomed for leadership. That's why they had him study acting like Reagan to condition him for performing before large populations in the world stage. An actor essentially is a liar. Let me say that again. An actor is a liar. His job is to make you believe what is not true. So he marries the niece of an Illuminist bloodline, one Maria Shriver, John Kennedy's niece in 1886, which equals 6, by the way. Now, one has to remember that John Kennedy's father, Joseph Kennedy, now listen carefully now, we're going to connect the dots. Joseph Kennedy, the patriarch of the Klan, was the U.S. ambassador to Nazi Germany in the 1930s. And he openly supported the Nazi cause, like Bush's grandfather, Prescott Bush. Are you getting the picture yet? By working on Hitler's behalf. It was Kennedy who worked on Hitler's behalf in an attempt to not, listen carefully, in an attempt to not get the United States to get into World War II. Like Ronald Reagan, he, Schwarzenegger, also had extensive CIA and Nazi connections before even entering politics. Arno campaigned for Kurt Waldheim when he ran for president of Austria, the home country of Hitler. Waldheim was later banned from coming to the United States due to his Nazi affiliations, but was an honored guest at Schwarzenegger's wedding. Okay? He had been heard calling Waldheim Uncle Kurt. Go to VikingPhoenix.com. Listen carefully. I'm going to give you something to go to. Viking Phoenix, VikingPhoenix.com /news. Okay, we're going to wait until she's fed. Okay, it's all right. That sounds like I'm either hungry right now. Feed me. You get to learn the actual language after. No, that's tired. Oh, give me food. Move, mama. See? VikingPhoenix.com /news /factoids, FACTOIDS.htm. And do it before they shut down the site to read how his mother almost swooned, or always used to swoon at the sight of Hitler. Check his movie Twins, listen carefully, where you see the story of his life as a boy from Brazil. A child of an experiment in eugenics. And the movie Junior, where he played the role of both his mother and his father, and himself in the Nazi eugenics program. And check how he played both movies with Danny DeVito. Danny diminished, his complete opposite. To amplify his Aryan ego and send a message to the viewer audience that these are experiments that will be conducted in the future. His first movie brought him to Manhattan as Hercules. He gave praises to his so-called Aryan, Hun, Germanic roots, playing Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer. He showed us his superiority against the black man by defeating the alien in Predator. He showed you that he could erase from your mind. He showed you that he could erase from your mind your memory and your feelings, any reactions to his first generational association with Nazis now and in his past by feeding you true lies to distract the nation from the larger goals of the Illuminati. But wait a minute, like your girl Josh Stone made up and said, who produced the flick? CIA. And what was the flick about? No, that was Collateral Damage. Ah, yes. He was undercover. He was working as a regular family man. Even his wife did not know. Right? Came home every day, chilled, and that was it. And what did his wife say after he was wiping out all these Arabs? I married Rambo. Remember? Then the wife became that. Ah. Oh. See, already we got you with Total Recall because that was the California recall. Oh yeah. We're just telling you his plan, his life has been mapped. He's giving you stories that was conditioning you to love him in all of the situations that he had, because he has now convinced you that he can overcome anything that you say is the obstacles to your path. That's why this jackass has invented him up and delivered him up as governor. Look who they put there. They put a motherfucking midget. They put a prostitute. They put some clown with a nose on it. They got, who else? It was a circus to distract you. Perfect. Perfect. And as your governor, Terminator, you are about to witness the collateral damage to California now that the running man successfully won his race for political office. California is in for a big chill now that Mr. Freeze is in town. But he's not done yet. He wants to be president. Nonsense, you say. Well, you made him governor. That's easy. How did he become governor? Well, the selector elite met with him at Bohemian Grove. He's a member of Bohemian Grove. Robert Schultz, former Secretary of State, gave Arnold the go-ahead. Schultz told the San Francisco Chronicle, and he also gave Schultz also gave Bush the green light to become president after they met at Bohemian Grove. But to be president, they say that you have to be, the first thing you have to have is the Jewish vote. You have to be a natural-born citizen, of course. You have to have and be part of the bloodline. So how does the son of a Nazi and the current friend of a Nazi get the Jewish vote? How does he even marry into an elite bloodline unless he is also part of an elite bloodline? And they're trying to minimize his true Nazi roots. I don't even believe that the father they say he had is his father, just his surrogate. That he was told the same way the boys from Brazil were handed to surrogate parents to raise. Well, here's what you do to get the Jewish vote. You pay them off. It's very simple. Every film that you make, you tithe a percentage to the Simon Wiesenthal Center. Then you get a fellow Illuminist like the director of the Simon Wiesenthal Center, Rabbi Marvin here, to defend Arno, saying he has no connections to any Nazis, or that of his father and his mother. He can't help what they were. This is a Jew saying this. Or is it really a Zionist?
Okay.
Big difference.
Thank you.
And I told you before that the Zionists were working with the Nazis to set up where? Israel. All told, you give about $5 million to the Jews and you get, are you ready, the highest award that the Simon Wiesenthal Center could give, the National Leadership Award. Hold on. The National Leadership Award in 1997. Imagine Jews giving Nazis National Leadership Awards. And how do you work out the sticky little point of not being born a citizen when you want to run for president? Simple. You just get Representative Darrell Issa of California to spend $1.5 million to put the recall election on the October 7th ballot, and you get elected governor. Then, with your chops salivating, you get an old friend named Senator Orrin Hatch of Utah, to draft a proposed amendment to the Constitution where anyone living in the United States for 20 years and has been in the country for 14 years can be elected president. Well, by golly, wouldn't you know it? Your good friend has been co-authoring a bill, a joint resolution to amend the Constitution. On July 10th, Senator Orrin Hatch quietly introduced what he hopes to become the 28th Amendment. All right? Turn on the TV there for a minute, and I want you to train your cameras at a specific point, put up the sound, and I want you to see how they have mapped this man's life in a movie called The Demolition Man. The Demolition Man.
For quite some time now. I have, in fact, perused some newsreels from the Schwarzenegger Library, and that time that you took that car...
Hold it. The Schwarzenegger Library?
Yes, the Schwarzenegger Presidential Library. Wasn't he an actor when you...
Stop. He was president?
Yes. Even though he was not born in this country, his popularity at the time caused the 61st Amendment, which states that...
I don't want to know. President.
What's going on? Did anybody ever see Demolition Man? All right, put your hand up. Who was he fighting? Who was the baddest motherfucker at that time? Wesley Snipes. Your hero, your more. Right? He didn't take no shit because you were coming into his country. All right? Turned him into the most... He was quintessential evil. There was no redeeming with him. And he had to be a black man. Item, question. This movie takes place when? In the future. This was back in 1992 or 3? Back of the box. Eyes not good. Get some younger eyes. 1993. 22. Remember the number 22. Very powerful in occult Illuminati. Why is it 22 a powerful number? Master number, why? It's double 11s. Now, when did it take place? In the future, check. What happened that woke up the two of them? Why did they wake up? Because some people in the underground, they wanted to get rid of the real people. Remember the people who still had their own organic energies, they wanted to grow their own food, the whole 9 yards, check? Remember now, where did it take place? California. Now, how in the hell in 1993 did anyone know that in California they would be speaking about Arnold Schwarzenegger being the president of the United States? And then he so happens to just last week become the governor of California? I'm conspiratorial because I'm a code breaker? And you putting the shit out there for me to study? And then you got the 1,000-headed ass, it's like... Dark matter think tank. None. Now we're going to deal with the Matrix 3. I know y'all going to be around for that one. Dark matter think tank. None. Now we're going to deal with the Matrix 3. I know y'all going to be around for that one. Get ready, because the Trinity turns. Let me say that again. I'm giving y'all clues. The Trinity turns. So, what am I saying here? How many people saw my lecture on synthetic synchronicity and how people are not clear as to how those who are the puppet master are writing scripts that you are following? Remember, I told you, synthetic synchronicity is not synchronicity based on cosmic synchronicity the way our ancestors dealt with it. Being in tune with cosmic synchronicity keeps us in tune with the movement and evolution of the cosmos. When you are shut down from cosmic synchronicity, you're dealing with artificial or synthetic synchronicity, and now you have a lesser God. That's what you are, children of a lesser God. Now you can't speak, you don't know how to communicate anymore. You can't read the signs, because no longer are you tuned in to the cosmic synchronicity. You are dumb. You are deaf. And is not the cosmic synchronicity music? Maybe it's me. I don't know. Maybe it's me. A few more things about Arnold. He stated numerous times in his past that he wanted to be a dictator. Veteran bodybuilders Robbie Robinson and Rick Wayne, both black, said Arnold would run around in front of huge crowds at bodybuilding meetings screaming, "Down with blacks! Down with niggers! Niggers this and niggers that!" This is Arnold.
And he didn't change his name.
Never changed his name. That's right. Arnold even posed for gay magazines. Well, we know what goes on up there at the Bohemian Grove now. Don't act crazy. Everyone is trying to get prints where he posed naked for Robert Mapplethorpe. Remember Robert Mapplethorpe? Robert Mapplethorpe is the gay photographer who was once posed for a picture with a bullwhip stuck up his ass. Now, let me say that again. Robert Mapplethorpe posed with a bullwhip stuck up his ass. And that was art. Right. Yes. There you go. And where is the media in all this? If you don't hear about the Nazi running for a Nazi running for public office in the U.S., then there is a sanction from on high. Again, he has also been seen with Warren Buffett, the master Satanist and ritual sacrificer of children, who is called the Oracle. And he is also seen with Lord Jacob Rothschild. In fact, in a Reuters article entitled "Buffett's Back with the Terminator" describes Arnold and Buffett descending by helicopter to the ancestral home of the Rothschild family. And finally, your boy Arnold was there when the energy bandits stole the electricity from the people of California. Articles in Associated Press, the LA Weekly, and the LA Times reported that during the electricity drought of 2001, the head bandit, Ken Lay, met secretly with California Republicans at the Beverly Hills Hotel and gave them an offer they couldn't refuse. Forced the taxpayer to pay billions in debt racked up by the state public utilities, and threatened them that if they didn't get the people to pay up, they'd turn the lights out like they did over here. Does this sound familiar? And you guessed it, Schwarzenegger was part of the closed-door meeting where convicted junk bond bandit Michael Milken and other robber barons schemed to keep deregulation going as a policy of law. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is but the tip of the iceberg of this very. Just know that you don't let an actor, some dumb bodybuilder, into a meeting of the Energies Commission to decide what it is you're going to do about the future of the lights to California unless he was there to learn how policy was done in California because he was getting ready to rule. Now, closer to home, a more immediate and dastardly act was perpetrated on us by certain members of our community. Certain bastards. One of the newest members on the path of evolutionary self-enlightenment, one of our most honored brothers, one of the most incredible minds that we have ever had visiting us from the motherland, was verbally ambushed on the airwaves this past Sunday on KISS 98.7 FM. And during the show that aired at 9 o'clock, I don't know, what was the show named again?
Open Line.
The Open Line. Yes, 98.7 FM. Now, from what I understand, because I don't listen to that bullshit, I have been, I just want to, but before we go forward on that, I just wanted to kind of bring you up to date with certain things that is now coming out about Arnold. I want to give you a little show of Arnold. This is Arnold. Arnold takes a toke. They busted him smoking some Chibo. Ain't nothing wrong with that. All right? Arnold is numero uno. All right? They busted him with Kurt Waldheim. Uncle Kurt. Known Nazi. Known Nazi. And he also supported the then member of, I think it was the Freedom Party of Austria, whose head was a Nazi. Okay? There's some cute things here, but I want you to see this. Now, I don't care who you are, you're not going to get a chance to stand next to this man if they ain't got no plans for you. Ladies and gentlemen, there's Arnold with Warren Buffett and Lord Jacob Rothschild. Lord Jacob Rothschild, who is top head Illuminatus, who runs the Bank of the Vatican. Okay? You don't stand next to him unless they are grooming you for power. Here are some very appropriate things that I pulled down from the net, which is very interesting. Right? And finally, you saw Arnold pointing in the last flick. I think here's what they have been actually grooming him to actually be in the future. Because did you see at the last one he said who he admired? I think this particular picture is extremely vibrant. I want you to get used to that picture. Because the smiling, friendly, what was the one he played when he took care of children again? Kindergarten Cop. That's who he is. That's who his family is. That's who his legacy is. And get ready now for every neo-Nazi knucklehead in the motherfucking country to stand up. You understand? And start asserting themselves. Because it's getting ready to start. Huh? Oh, yeah. He wants it. All you got to do is put a little mustache on him. But you see the American flag is superimposed on one side, and you see the flags of Nazism.
He said one of the things he's going to do is start making the Indians pay taxes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He said that outright. So you know he wants You see the flags of Nazism.
He said one of the things he's going to do is start making the Indians pay taxes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He said that outright. So you know he wants the reservations to start giving them excuses so they can come in. Ladies and gentlemen, 98.7 KISS FM with Ntume, Judge Pickett, Bob Slade. And I got something to say about it.
Welcome to the open line broadcast for this Sunday, the 5th of October, 2003. 9 o'clock is our time. I'm Bob Slade, along with the third answer. Judge Bob Pickett's in the house. We have a dynamite show for you folks. Get ready. Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be a hot one.
See, they set it up at the beginning. They're getting ready to set him up.
That's right.
You heard what he said cynically and slyly. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know, you can see him turning into Chicken George right away, right?
That's right.
Guest in the studio with us, and we're going to switch gears for just a second, talk about something that we normally don't talk about. That's physics. We don't really get to talk. So physics? What are they talking about?
When we say physics, it means exercise. That's what I thought it was in high school. Oh, we were exercise.
To go to physics class.
Although I did take physics in high school.
You did?
He didn't tell me what kind of grade. Advanced.
He couldn't be advanced.
I was only joking, brother. I had advanced mathematics, trigonometry, and calculus.
Don't give me five. But anyway, we have a special guest in the studio. Brother Ntume, I'm going to give you the honors. Because Toombs, by the way, has been talking about this brother for quite a while. And wanted to get him on the show. And so we hunted him down, and we got him. Brother Toombs.
When I first met Dr. Ebo, we were attending a celebration at City Hall, I believe it was, with Brother Barron. And as he was receiving his declaration, they mentioned that he had been nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Now hold that thought now.
Heard right up front that they had him down at where? City Hall. You think I can get down to City Hall? If they didn't have something, they're going to get me either that or handcuffs. Right? So right away, Ntume tried to give some legitimacy to the situation. Right?
It was mathematical physics, if I'm not mistaken. And first of all, that knocked me down as it would any of the average brother or sister, because, you know, other than ball players and actors or, musicians, we don't really hear about that. So I thought it would be very interesting if we brought Brother on, and we mentioned that, I think it was last week on Tuesday, I think it was, wasn't it?
That's right.
So we finally had Brother here, and, sometimes we have guests, and their resume is so long, it takes too much time to mention all these things. And I think what we'll do is during the course of the conversation, the good doctor can weave some of these in. But I'll just give you the main thing, which is what he's been nominated for. And it's called the theory of everything, or the unified field theory of mathematical physics. Now, he's going to have to explain that to us, because I'm obviously, myself and Pickett are not really able to break that down. That's what he's here for. He's also briefed the United States Senate on the unified field theory. He's a professor, and has received numerous awards and accolades. And like I said, I'm going to get right to it. This is Brother Dr. Ebo.
Dr. Gabriel Ebo.
Yes, sir. It's nice to be here, Brother Ntume. The world know you and your team here are legends in what you do and everything. And so it's a pleasure to be here. I was nominated last year for a Nobel Prize in mathematical physics for basically completing the work that Professor Albert Einstein, left undone.
I want you see what we have to do with the planet? Because they definitely left the spiritual evolution of the planet undone. And every time something happens like that, the masculine principle, through his ability to deal in the abstract realms of metaphysics by nature, Now, this is not to say that the feminine principle can't, but he leads in that because he is hardwired in his basic nature to teach and to learn abstractly. Understand that. In what the woman must do and who she is, that is not how she is hardwired, because if she falls into abstract thinking, the child doesn't get taken care of. The home does not come together. Drifting is not for that. Focus, especially in the woman, is vital to family. If she is out dreaming and going off into dealing with visions, nothing gets done, as we see today. Understand that we as men and women have been effectively neutralized in our nature. So chaos now abounds. But he said something. He effectively finished the theorem not only of Einstein, but of Newton, the gods of physics.
You want to understand the universe in terms of where did the universe come from, what is the universe, and that has been linked. The search for that was linked to motion. So motion is the most fundamental thing about the universe, because as we're all sitting down here, we are moving. Why? Because Mother Earth is rotating about this axis from where we get night and day. And frankly, none of us, nobody can stop that process. So when we talk about God the Almighty, that's part of the deal, because that's beyond us. We're moving. So then, in addition, Mother Earth is also rotating around the sun from where we get the seasons. So that says, and that's continuous, it's going on forever. Now, if that's not enough, your body is composed of atoms. An atom came from the ancient African who, gave a theorem about how the universe originated.
Now, he just told...
The original theory of relativity came from Africa. No problem. You would think that that would open up the ears of the less initiated.
They call it atom. Atom is supposed to be the building block of the universe. Atom is protons and electrons, that is in continuous motion around the nucleus. So every ounce of your body is made up of this atom. So even if you're not attached to Mother Earth, you are moving. Everybody is a motion kind of machine. The stone, anything that you can see that's matter is moving. So therefore, there's no spot in the universe that's not moving.
So when you say the stone is moving, you mean the particles within inside the stone?
That's absolutely correct.
So it's a solid form that does
absolutely
has no motion. It has motion within, you're saying?
That's absolutely correct. So if you visualize the universe, then it is motion. Now, motion cannot occur without a force. So therefore, the discovery that we're part of, which we did, that made them nominated us for Nobel Prize, actually visualizes the entire universe as a geometric space.
Let me ask you this question.
Here we go now.
You said it twice already, that you have been nominated for a Nobel Prize in physics, mathematical physics.
Yes, sir.
From your PR folks, we understand that this is the second nomination?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Now, have you received a formal letter from the Nobel Committee indicating that you have been nominated?
No, they don't send out such letters.
Okay. So how do you know that you have been nominated?
Well, we have...
do you understand my question?
Oh, I definitely do. The process of nomination for Nobel Prize is a very secret kind of...
Let me ask you this question.
Here we go now.
You said it twice already, that you have been nominated for a Nobel Prize in physics, mathematical physics.
Yes, sir.
From your PR folks, we understand that this is the second nomination?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Now, have you received a letter, formal letter from the Nobel Committee indicating that you have been nominated?
No, they don't send out such letters.
Okay. So how do you know that you have been nominated?
Well, we have...
do you understand my question?
Oh, I definitely do. The process of nomination for a Nobel Prize is a very secret kind of process. Somehow you get to find out if you're nominated.
Yeah, but how do you know, because you're putting it out here for the whole world to hear, that you have indeed been nominated?
Yes.
Right.
Well, there were 7, actually they require one person to nominate you to the Nobel Committee. I received 7
letters?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Including a letter from an aide to Albert Einstein called Professor Edith Lutyens.
Okay.
A timeline that he can go and find. You don't know these people, you don't see it, so why keep continuing to contend? If you are contending with what he said, and you want to find out about it, why, during the weeks that you already said that Mtume has been trying to get him on, did you not investigate that particular situation?
And this is on the website www.geocities.com.
Our crack research team here at the station, when we knew that we were going to have you as a guest, again, this is no knock on your talent, your scholarship at all, but our crack research team has discovered that there is a controversy surrounding you and whether or not you have in fact ever been nominated for a Nobel Prize.
Listen.
Are you aware of this controversy? Yes, do you understand my question?
Yes, I am aware of that controversy, but I have the letter here
From the Nobel Committee?
No, they don't see it. Okay.
From the Nobel Committee, do you have a letter or something indicating from them that you have in fact been nominated?
What he says was... Wait, you got to understand what I'm saying. He said that there's a secret process. And if people nominate, they
can nominate Bob Slade for a Nobel Prize.
Let me see. If you told me that, I would have actually gotten the letters are here. It's a good thing. Okay. All right.
And appreciate. I'm not questioning your scholarship. But as far as I'm concerned, you're a brilliant person.
Now you notice.
It's called distraction, and we're going to get into that. We're going to get into the tenets of disinformation and distraction. And what you are watching is an exercise in Provocateur 101 to get you off of the fact that he was about to teach us what the content of his brilliance represented. But now we are off in a nebulous. He's eating, what he's doing is he's burning daylight. He is seriously burning the daylight that you would have had over the air. And this is precious because it's like you in and out. But what he was supposed to do was to make sure that the time, the precious time that was there, that you were supposed to, and you remember this, he says, we don't do this. This is something, we're going to do something that's weird and strange. We don't do this shit. So he takes the thing about the Nobel Peace Prize, which is like, yeah, we give a flying fuck. Nobel Prize, yeah, let's talk about what he has been so nominated around the world for everything. I saw his book. It's this thick with letters from embassies, kings, heads of state. Why didn't he talk about that? He got nominated and won something, I forgot the name of what, that was just as close. That's the next stage from the Nobel Peace Prize. He won that. Why didn't he take that one? Because he's a fucking agent provocateur. He's a nigger with a bullwhip up his ass. And I'm saying it here, Judge Pickett. You ain't no fucking judge. How's that? And I will debate you in open forum. And I know you probably ain't going to get it, but it's going to pass on to the ethers anyway. And you're going to meet me one day. You ain't no damn judge, because ain't been a sitting judge in these United Snakes since 1789. You ain't nothing but a push boy. You take the money here and you give it there to your masters. You don't know shit about law. You don't do law. You do statutes, regulations, and codes. So you ain't no judge. You ain't nothing but a magistrate. A fancy fucking bookkeeper. That's all you are.
How dare you? How dare you?
Judge Pickett. Huh? You're not a judge. There's no law in these United States, and you've been stealing money from your people and pretending that you're a judge. I can't stand that bullshit. And in open forum, if you want to deal with the dictates of law and what's really going on in this country and who you really are, get me on your show. Come and do to me what you did to that very gentle brother. And I promise you, Ali Frazier. Ali Norton, you want it? I know you never do it because he's a punk. Agent provocateur. Excuse me. Take a breath. Breathe, breathe, breathe.
Okay, now this is a letter from somebody from a Noble Committee. It's a letter dated June 1st to the Noble Committee indicating from a George Handelman, indicating that he's nominating you to receive this prize. Absolutely. Correct. Yes, I have more. And so this is based on a letter that someone sent to the Noble Committee. Absolutely. And it doesn't suggest that you have been formally nominated by that committee as a proposed recipient, other than a letter. What are we doing? Okay, what I'm simply, first of all, understand what I'm saying. I can write a letter to Bob Slade. See?
Speak. That's one of the serious, that's the way the agent provocateur works. He jumps inside of you and he takes away your timing. What he's doing now, he's aggravating him so that it becomes an emotional issue. Are you watching it happen? This is the way an agent provocateur works. Who's that? Well, Mtume didn't jump in fast enough. He should have said, shut the fuck up. They could have bleeped it later. Yo, you got to look at it. It was all of it. He could have had all that information done. Now, Mtume knows. Mtume's a good brother. I know Mtume from a long time ago. He has a lot of good. The brother's a real, he's real. He's one fighting to get the music back to be music, our music. But, you know, when you sit amongst dogs with fleas, and the brother was very good to me because, you know, me and him, we met up in a circumstance, and he was very, very kind. He was, you know, he was understanding. I could talk to the brother and everything. But, brother, when you lay down with dogs, especially them Bowery dogs, I mean, low-life dogs that Malcolm and Khaled were talking about, you got to come up scratching.
And saying, Bob, for a Nobel Peace Prize. Now, that's not a nomination. Here's what we do, because we did what Brother Pickett is saying. This just came up when we came in. Now, the letters, see how you...
This just came up.
That was it too many.
I know. No, he didn't.
That's right.
Because he already said, this was Pickett, that this brother, we've been trying to get you in here. What? What do you mean? This came up? It didn't just come up. Because this motherfucker sounds like he was taking a case. And he was prosecuting a case. You don't just prosecute something by walking in the courtroom without the facts. So you said you got a crack research team?
picketed myself and Brother Slade read the letters when this was brought to our attention.
Yes.
Now, there has to be some method or something that we can use to document, because it puts us in a very strange position. Now, we just found this out this morning, as a matter of fact, when the research team called us. And you can appreciate what we're doing. There has to be some kind of way it was confirmed, either by a letter.
Yes.
You feel what we're saying.
Now, you know.
Don't know what kind of mind they're fucking with. How do you waste that time with a mind like that sitting in your presence? What the fuck does that got to do? If you don't know what it is, who is this crack research team? We haven't brought them forward. What's their validity? If this crack research team supposedly found something out, who the fuck are they? Good point. Good point.
That it was raised, and it's something that had to be dealt with.
Yes. Well, what I'm simply telling you is that there is no way that, okay, this is the one actually I wanted you to read. We got to read this in there.
But do you get a phone call?
No, wait, listen. We have all that. I don't want you to, you need to calm down, okay? I'm not
Calm the fuck down. No, I would have calmed him down, right? Sleepies, no-nos. You see what I'm talking about? You see, the brother was eloquent. You need to calm the fuck down. Every time I say something, you jump in.
Right.
You ask the witness to speak, and then you jump the motherfucker before he can say something. If I'm on trial,
to talk.
See, well, you got to read this letter first. Because let me say something.
I don't have to read the letter. Let me tell you. And again, I'm not questioning your scholarship. You're a brilliant person, math and all that. But for you,
him already, because if you're telling him he's a liar at this level, he's a liar at the other level. You're not questioning my scholarship. I know why you don't question his scholarship, you punk motherfucker, because you're nowhere near his scholarship. And you wouldn't be able to keep a conversation with him. Low life. That's why we ain't moved forward yet. Because it's niggas like that, buck dancing, chicken George motherfuckers that's in there. So, just completely disrupting our ability to move forward as a collective people.
That's right.
You understand? So now you have to look at the same way that we are deconstructing this conversation here is the way you must deconstruct every goddamn commercial that comes over your TV. Every movie that you see. Every sitcom that you're looking at. You're not supposed to look at it for entertainment. You're supposed to be deconstructing where they are taking the mass ass. You understand? Look at where they are taking you. 1, 2, 3. It's synchronicity, people.
Open eye.
Everything that they're doing, every music, every note, everything they're doing, you got to know it ain't real. It's the matrix. Not even that. It's the construct. Pardon me, sisters. It is the construct. So, I don't need to hear this motherfucker because he's pissing me off. All right? And I got to breathe. I got something I got to offer to you. You understand? Because he's taking my breath. You understand? He's pissing me the fuck off.
One part where he says if the white man is not, if the white man doesn't have it on the news, you ain't doing nothing.
I want to hear that then.
That's what he
as a Nobel Prize nominee belies the fact and the truth of that matter. That's all I'm saying. No. Don't go around saying that you're a Nobel Prize nominee when you're not.
They should have beat his ass.
Whoa. Now, we have a scholar in here, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries. Let's hear it for Dr. Rosalind Jeffries. That's my mother. She has this beautiful smile that just melts me, you know. Do you see what's happening in that kind of question, dialogue, scrutiny that's going on, Mother?
Absolutely. All you have to remember Leonard when he was on...
There it is.
He was on...
Charlie Rose. And many of those other programs. Many. Mm-hmm. So it is a technique. Yes. And they do use black people to go and
very much, Mother.
How do you know that you are? Because you have no proof other than letters that...
Now, you ain't heard nothing from the brother except 3 sentences yet.
10 minutes!
I could write a letter, again, I could write a letter to Bob Slade saying, I nominate Bob Slade to receive the Nobel Prize. Can I respond now? Yeah.
My man!
Well, first of all, if you know the process by which people are nominated, you won't be attacking me the way you're attacking me.
Oh. I mean, how more eloquent can you say that? You don't know. You don't know. See what ignorance talks?
Because when you nominated, there are certain things as a nominee you can't even voice out in the public. Okay? This is a very secretive kind of process in terms of the nomination process. And the controversy that you're talking about comes from a guy called Scott Williams that has absolutely no knowledge about the process. That's number one.
Oh, he named the source of the bullshit! Let's give it up for Dr. Yibo! He's quite prepared for the bullshit.
I have secret document here that I will not allow you to read in the air that will tell you precisely what to do.
Well, let me read you something from the Nobel Prize website. I'm going to read you something. Maybe you need to be aware of this.
Yes.
This is what it says.
I am.
It says, nominations are confidential. According to the statutes of the Nobel Foundation, information about the nominations is not to be disclosed.
Oh, that's bullshit, because on the news, I hear when every time some white boy is nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, I hear about it. I know about it. And he's about to tell you that.
Publicly or privately for a period of 50 years. The restriction not only concerns the nominee and nominators, but also the investigations and opinions of the awarding of a prize.
Now, remember, he is doing this as a judge. You see the prosecutorial tones? He is prosecuting a liar. He has perjured himself. This is the game he's pushing. Meanwhile, we 10 minutes into the show where we could have been hearing about the brother's mathematical theorem.
Now that says to me that if this person was nominating you for a Nobel Prize, he had an obligation not to disclose that information to you as well.
No, that's not true. People who are nominated,
Would you like to read this?
what?
This is from the site, the website.
But I know now.
That's what I'm trying to tell you is that let's make it easy. Let's not call yourself a nominee at all. Let's talk about your unified theory because I think that's more interesting. But for you, we cannot put out to our audience that you're something that you may not be.
But how would you tell who is nominated?
Well, how do you confirm for us that you have been?
See, now look at the way the conversations go.
Provocateur once.
There are some documents here that I will let you read, but not off the air. Because that jeopardizes my chance of winning. The announcement is going to be soon.
When?
Tuesday. So I don't want...
How about tomorrow? Okay.
Tomorrow is good, but okay.
No, we needed to get through that. I don't want to be late there, but Brother Pickett's concern is a concern that was just presented to us this morning. And
That's bullshit!
Told you, damn.
Shit, Mtume, you're playing with it.
You can appreciate because we built this up. There has to be some way, you understand, because our credibility is now on the line. And in this, like I said, this situation just was presented as you came through. And when
How many times they said that and he ain't contested it? He said that 4 times. Because it was the time when they talked about his crack staff. This is the 4th time he talked about it.
With the research team when they brought that to us. So there has to be some kind of way that is confirmed, especially since it's been brought in question. But let's not lose, I'm having to agree, Brother Pete. Let's move on to what your discovery was. Let's talk about that.
See, now the time has wasted.
Right?
Now they want to talk when they know he ain't got that much time.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we take a commercial break?
We went right.
Okay? Right to the commercial break, the last thing you remembered was the last word spoken by that bastard, which is, he ain't what he says.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we take a commercial break?
Okay? Right to to the commercial break, the last thing you remembered was the last word spoken by that bastard, which is, he ain't what he says he is. Therefore, if you're lying now, what the agent provocateur has done is to make in the mind, put into the minds of the audience, that he can't be trusted on a point that is so important to Judge Pickett. See, Judge Pickett has made you believe that his Nobel Peace Prize is more important than his work. And by doing that, instead of saying that after the brother has made his point, you now make sure that he has been stultified. He doesn't have time. He's going to rush through. It has to be very nebulous. It's probably just nutshelled information that the audience wouldn't get anyway, but he has put that seed into the minds of people who have been programmed to listen to his shit as truth. So immediately it's going to complain. He says, this motherfucker, let me turn it off. And you did your work. We know, but you see, we're dealing with you. This is the Dark Matter think tank, and we see right through your bullshit. We saw you play him. But you see, the man is too eloquent. He is way above you. I know you saw that shit in Star Trek when they were fighting the Romulans, and it was Romulans versus Federations. They were fighting each other, shooting each other, killing each other. And they were on this little planet where these motherfuckers were saying, why the fuck are y'all killing one another? At the end of the flick, they were fighting each other. Then the people who were living on the planet said, stop. And everything stopped. The guns wouldn't work. None of their ships wouldn't work. Nothing would work. And when they showed you who they were, they turned into this ball of light and left. And what did Spock say? Spock said, man, these people are evolved beyond you the way you are evolved beyond the amoeba. Right. Whoa. You single-celled motherfucker, you.
His theories, Dr. Evo's theories. We'll come right back. You're listening to the open line right here.
I'm tired of this motherfucker. I'm tired of it. Anyway, we're here and we're back, and we're about to take the path of the virtuous man.
Everybody all right? Yeah. Okay. Are we all here now? Yeah. Hey, listen, are you all averse to coming in and sitting on the floor with us? Can anybody just want to come in and sit on the floor? You know, it doesn't matter. It's like the gathering of the masters. You sit where your ass fits. Okay, is everybody made it? Everybody comfortable? Okay. Okay. Give thanks.
We're staying.
Oh, bless you. So am I. Okay. I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to take it easy for a minute, because the place I want to be when we're speaking about this is a place that will reflect the seriousness of the lecture itself and what I've been trying to convey, or what I will try to convey, in the form of the lesson that we are going to speak about. Again, the title, and I know we spent about an hour and some change on everything that we're speaking of, and of course we have to bring everything up to date because things are spiraling so quickly that we have to definitely bring things into perspective before we can actually investigate as a think tank. But first I'd like to say that in all of the world, I may very well be the least qualified to explain to you what a virtuous man is. In fact, I am still on my test quest, that is my testosterone quest, on the path of discovery for first-hand experience into the realm of manhood. I say this because as a man, manhood is based on the sum total of my perception and experiences and the choices I have made to shape them into who I am. One thing I have discovered, and I'd like the brothers to kind of empathize with me on these things, because I think that you all will probably be able to feel me on some of the things that we as males share in this society, and especially for my son as well, because if nothing else, I would like to leave this as a testament to him and the children that he will have. And I always want to make sure that anything that I leave ready for the 7th generation, like our ancient ancestors and our brothers, the Turtle Island brothers speak about. Whenever we think about large decisions, we think 7 generations into the future. And this is why I am doing this now. I'm going to be doing my last lectures are going to be based in teaching the men how to gain perspective of where they are in the war. And as our sisters are essentially part of this war as well, we will speak to you and to your needs. And hopefully the two, excuse me, I'm trying to get comfortable because as you know, when you tie your head back, it's like, ooh. So, you know, I would like the brothers to become, you know, as concentrated as possible because that's what we need to be able to do now. And sisters, I wish to invoke your empathy in this journey because above all things, to fight to be a man in this war is twice the battle than we could ever imagine it is. And we're not making excuses. We just know that, you know, we've been fucking up. But we know that there is an instigator that keeps us apart, that keeps us at each other, that keeps us arguing over little bullshit. So with this, I offer this to you all in the light that it may act as some kind of, you know, pass card, you know, swipe, take it, do what you can with it. One thing I have discovered is that during the early years of my life, around the late 20s, 30s, more times than not, I was wrong, actually wrong and flawed, if these are the right words, in my perception of things that I could swear I thought I understood, particularly women. Which is why maybe I tend to be so fastidious, passionate, and focused in the way that I approach the subjects that I teach, because I think I have developed such a distaste for being incorrect. I learned quickly that being wrong, as an indigenous man of color, could incur a wide range of potentially bad consequences, particularly on my family and my loved ones. With the help of my mother, I later figured out that this was the result of my father instilling in me, sometimes painfully, that men, real men, cannot afford to make mistakes. That as a man is the bringer of life and death, his mistakes fluctuate between these two closely related extremes. I later heard the same words, or words to this effect, while watching the movie The Godfather, when Don Corleone tells his son Michael in the garden virtually the same thing. He said, women can make mistakes. It's all right. But as a man, you can't. Too much hangs on it as the leader of the family. And that's where I'm talking to you all from. You understand? There's no such thing as a single-parent family. That's bullshit. That is a survival unit of the war. Sometimes I think that my drive for impeccability in everything I did and studied prevented me from paying attention to those mistakes and the lessons that I could have learned, that I could have taught myself with. But I have arrived at a place to this point in my journey through the isness where I believe that I have caught up with myself somewhat. Some people listening to me might call me anal, maybe even Felix Unger anal. But I believe that a man, according to the teachings of Don Juan, and I went through such teachings while I was in Trinidad, must strive for the one thing that invariably distinguishes him from the other gender. A man must strive for impeccability. He must be impeccable in character, impeccable in virtue, impeccable in his honesty, impeccable in his relationships, impeccable in thought, word, and deed. Now, when I say that a man should strive for impeccability, I do not mean he must be impeccable in character, impeccable in virtue, impeccable in his honesty, impeccable in his relationships, impeccable in thought, word, and deed. Now, when I say that a man should strive for impeccability, I do not mean to imply obsession. I have come to understand that it is in the recognition and acceptance of our flaws, without judgment of ourselves, that a man gradually strengthens his awareness of himself. He strengthens his thoughts and actions, and thereby enhances his focus to attain impeccability. As men, the recognition and analysis of thought through the detached scrutiny of the inner observer is the barometer of higher awareness, concentration, and focus. Let me say that again to my brothers. The recognition and the analysis of thought through the detached scrutiny of the inner observer is the barometer of higher consciousness, concentration, and focus. Beloved brothers and sisters, the quality of a man's thoughts are directly linked to the qualities of his biochemistry. The quality of a man's thoughts are directly linked to the qualities of his biochemistry. His thoughts, if he is not observant, will fall victim to the dictates of his appetites that would have invaded his chemistries. A man's appetites will dictate his thinking if he lets it, and his thinking will therefore then dictate his actions. Thus, it is through the path that leads to the realm of thought, and at the portal of thought, observing the realms beyond without judgment, that a man attains a genuine perception of his humankind. Now, there are those who claim that we should meditate upon ourselves as sexless balls of light, beyond gender and beyond space and time. Oh, really? Then what is the point of taking a body in the first place?
Thank you.
When you are in the spirit body, do you go into meditation to experience what it's like to have a body? No, life and living in your body is the meditation. If you possess a masculine body, that was your choice of experience, your vehicle of perception in the realms of polarity. Your meditation is predicated by the design of the vehicle that you journey through nature with. In your quest for stillness or meditation, you are attempting to use the molecular agreement of the male principle to inculcate the universal spiritual intent through that still point to give you the maximum experience you could have as a body vehicle in life. This is the answers, and this is how you answer the questions such as A, what does the chemistry of polarity known as man supposed to do with his containment? B, what is the primary mandate for the chemical biochip known as testosterone? The reasons for such questions at this point is because in part 2 of our evening together, I wish we had a fireplace or something and I'd be saying it to you by the fire. The reasons for such questions at this point is because in part 2 of our evening together, you will see that today there are no clear markers or socio-cultural parameters to define a man, except that he is an instigator of violence, abuse, mayhem, brutality, ineptitude, selfishness, irresponsibility, lies, and above all, he can't be trusted. Today, a man is being defined and categorized through the estrogenic social lens of the feminist eye. Let me say that again. Today, the man is being defined and categorized through the estrogenic social lens, and that is a perverted estrogenic lens of the feminist eye. Any attempts he makes to reclaim his own persona,
any attempts he makes to recapture his own natural giving self-identity, his own nature-given self-identity, is met with vicious retaliation from the feminists who man-jacked it from him since he was a boy. Now, she acts like him and is considered assertive, strong, intelligent, self-assured, a go-getter, independent, confident, all once considered the province of a strong and healthy man. Whenever you hear the description of a woman that she's strong, independent, intelligent, she's a man-jacker. Now I know the feminists hate the shit out of me because that's the man in them hating me. You see, you don't understand metaphysics, so you don't understand your predicament. Look at relationships today, and I told you about it in The Wounded Womb. If you got an assertive, strong, independent woman, you got a weak man following her. It's automatic. Her man is going to look for a woman in him. Am I wrong? I know you've seen it. Huh? He follows along like he got a collar.
In the background.
Mm-hmm. She's loud, she's assertive, she's the masculine principle. And he's the game. Yes, he's the game. He is the pet. Now, just see that at a mass social level. Understand that that same kind of feminist energy is what the state has become. And all of us are expected to wear a collar. See, feminists hate me because, see, a lot of brothers don't have the metaphysical argument to shut them up. And why they hate me is because I put this shit on tape for them to find the argument. See? Test it up. Come on, think tank. Overstand. With this in mind, as we quest for overstanding on the first stage of the perceptual journey on the path of the virtuous man, I think we should start with a fundamental but all too loaded question. And let us explore this question. Before we can define manhood, my brothers and sisters, we need to first define what is a man. And here is where I open the floor. Can anyone help me, good God, with what the definition of a man is? And I'm going to show you exactly where the social construct has taken your mind and your perception. Is anyone first one? Oh, wait a minute, no, we're amongst the family now. We're in the dark matter think tank. And we are here to explore a question that ain't nobody ever asked. They never asked me. I didn't hear nobody, male or female, ask me, what is a man? Here we are trying to be men. Women kept saying, be a man, goddammit! Brother in the back. See, now we went right to it. Okay? The brother says he, representing his own gender, says that he is an initiate. Initiator. Well, that's why the initiate came from.
I'll add to that. That initiator of positiveness.
Ooh. Okay, well, we're getting all creamy and soft right now. I love it. Yes, he is, or it is, the positive energy. Now, let's just take it away. Now, we're talking think tank. Are we blacks? No. Are we the dark matter scientists that we're supposed to be? Yes or no, brothers? All right, then let's take away. See, you still okay? Okay. Somebody else. Yes, brother, you first. Let's open the door. Go ahead, brother.
I would say a man is all those things that we just...
All right. Came back around to the wise one. Now here's what I'm saying to you. Everyone is right and everyone is wrong. I said, okay, what do we do? What is the definition? What are we looking for? What is a man? Okay? First thing, you defined what you thought the man is. Nobody has told me what a man is yet. You say what he does. You say he provides. You say he protects. You say he's a king. These are all job descriptions. Again, I asked the think tank, what is a man? Yes, sir. Me, okay. Self-identity immediately. Part of the atom. Oh, we're getting down to it now. Go ahead. Okay, well, yes. That's now we're getting into yes. Okay, go no back. Undefinable. Undefinable. Okay. One with a penis. Okay, that gets it close. But you see, that's good because that doesn't deal with function. I like that. That says it right there. We're getting to this core.
A Y chromosome.
A Y chromosome. Come on. Strength. Interesting. Yes. That would be one of the Tai Chi yin dynamics. Strength versus weakness. Very good. Opposite woman. So he is an opposite. Okay, so now you see how you got away? Did you see where we went from? You see what the social mindset did to you when I asked you what a man was? What was the first thing that happened? You started giving him a job description. This is why you fail. See, I'm being Yoda now. This is why you fail. Because my sister and my brother, you have just given the feminist view. A woman looks at you as a function in her life. And you have been relegated to a job description. You will never come together with your man because in your own right you have been trained that he owes you something. And if he isn't doing his job, he can be replaced. Understand that you have been completely bamboozled, hoodwinked. Why? Because you have taken on the very dialectic. You have embodied the semantic. Everything in your mind is now going through the rubric of your reactive mind, not your active mind. The social lexicon has saturated you to believe, and you now believe what you have been told. There is no exploration of the man, and that's why this civilization will die. We have done, and we are doing, to the best of their ability, a serious deconstruction of woman, and that's it. And the purveyors of this is now trying to get us to believe that the facts that they're uncovering in their analysis belongs to all of us. So adapt. And the males are saying no. They're saying no subconsciously and in their actions in school when they're boys. I will not conform because this is not correct to me, for me. Understand that you have been living on a description that vacillates according to the one who wrote the script. And my sisters, the problem is that you live the description not realizing that your definition of yourself actually comes from how the man sees you. Now, let me say this. what's going to happen is we're going to completely turn the thing. And this is not going to be about who's better or who's worse, or who's greater or who's lesser. That's bullshit. The societal lexicon and the way they set it up is competition. Your words are based in competition today. It has nothing to do with analysis. Your thoughts have been colonized. And your thinking now is regimented by a governor. And that governor now has taken up root, and he and she is dictating to your thoughts. Your thoughts now constantly go back to the program that was set right there for them. Man, provider, job, policeman, he provides for me, protects me. He's a doer. The being of man has not yet been explored. And the reason why I say what I say to the sisters is that as the sun, as the direct representative of the sun, you don't see the light of your day until he shines. Now I know that's like, what? How dare you? I'm equal. I'm independent. I can do everything he can do. What does that? That's doing! The problem is that we've been investigating our doer side without investigating the being in the isness. Stop the doing and what you get is the isness, and then being hits you in the face. Pow! Your man is the sun and you reflect the moon. You are the moon. You don't shine by yourself. You can't be independent. Ain't no planet Earth independent from the sun. The universe itself is polygamist and patriarchal. The sun don't go around the earth. And that's what they've been forcing the sun to do. Circumnavigate the earth. And that's what feminism has done to the man. He doesn't even know who he is anymore. He's the prodigal son because he hasn't found his father energy yet. And that is his own understanding and intellect, his own knowledge of self. Not what he does, but who and what he is. And now, I ask the question again. What is a man? Do you understand what we just did? No, don't be so quick to put your hands up. See, that's what I'm saying to you. The reactive mind has us bogged down in all the isms, schisms. All the bullshit they want you to believe I am. I'm not that. I'll tell you what I am. When I do what I am, I build pyramids the size of Giza. When I do what I am, I plot the distance between the sun and the earth. When I do what I am, I go into thinking mode and I solve the problems that you have, if I'm allowed to. Who I am is fathomless. I can't be described as the brother said. I can only be experienced. And the only way I can be experienced is if you respect who I am. I am the creator. You are the creatrix, which means that you hold the seed of what I initiate. You are not a creator. This is what that when God was a woman bullshit came out to be.
That's right, open eyes.
It does not work like that. That is feminist diatribe to take you off of your center. And I defy any scientist or sociologist or any metaphysician, any new age bastard out there that's going to try me. I want you to try me.
Okay. That's what's up.
The whole equation is wrong. The whole new age system, the whole new age, the CIA and the NSA, to get you to get away from your gender orientation. When you get away from your gender orientation, my beloved brothers, you get away from problem solving. That's what you are.
You are a problem solver. That's why the woman is so pissed off with you now, because you ain't solved the present problem. Problem solving. That's what you are. You are a problem solver. That's why the woman is so pissed off with you now, because you ain't solved the present problem. When you can solve the problem of our condition, she will come back to you. Because right now, her nature is to cleave to her provider and her protector. And the feminists turn that into the state. So, my beloved brothers and sisters, as I speak to you today into this incredibly charged cocoon, where after you leave here, you are going to spread your wings as that butterfly, I ask once more of the masters gathered here in the dark matter think tank, what is a man? Oh, hold on. He summed it, but that's all right. The sum is fine. We can play with the surfaces of it. See, that's what we've been doing. We've just been playing with surfaces. We've been dealing with onness, not inness. The state teaches superficiality. Your church teaches superficiality. You do not know God. You don't even know who the fuck Jesus is. So how are you going to know who you are? Why do they keep telling you God is there? Agent provocateurs distracting you. God is here. There is no church greater than the human body. There is no Bible greater than the human word spoken organically into the ear of another human being. What is a man?
Spirit in human form, holographic fragment of the divine source of all that is. I am.
Yes, and he comes. Now we just scratched the surface. We just dug a little bit deeper into it. Thank you, Elder. Thank you, Elder. Now we're beginning to scratch deeper into the surface of what a man is, because you see, once you know that, you know who everything is. I didn't say what. You know who everything is. Yes, brother. Okay, well, I didn't think about putting a direction to this conversation, but maybe you did. Is that what you want to do?
I personally think the African song with the black man, I feel like punk, and that's the last hip-hop.
Okay, well, no doubt. If hip-hop got it raw, and we appreciate that, and that's why I'm there to support hip-hop. But I want you to understand that we are in a space of discovery. We don't want definitions. We want you to exercise the verbiage that an open mind has access to. And not just what you brought to the think tank, but what you will uncover within. So, everyone, drop everything you thought you knew, because you can't learn with a full cup. If you come here thinking that you already know what everything is about, this path of the virtuous man, when I was teaching it to just 2 and 3 brothers, and when I gave it to my son, this was no bullshit. This is not about what you have been conditioned to believe in your defensive posture against the beast that you're fighting. This is about unraveling the core that sits awaiting your discovery. Yes, the first brother before you, and yes, yes, brother.
What I think we are as men, the detachment from the physical, meaning as our ancestors go through hieroglyphics, that is the third dimension perception. And that's a stated job, explanation before that is perception. As soon as the women feel we don't fulfill to that, she wants to, leave us for something else. What we are is the detachment, and the nettle merely a blueprint to get back to that detachment.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, let's give it up for the young brothers here.
In the 5 minutes before the break, we're saying, and what the brother was saying, is that the basic tendency of most males, of what males are, what the male energy is, to detach himself. The need for the female to invoke emotion in him at this time is her need to find what it is that she has in herself, because she needs to have his light in order to have her reflect what's within her. So what he is saying is we are not allowed the place to go into that space of detached awareness so that we can solve the problems of the civilization. We are constantly being distracted instead of becoming detached. So our distraction is causing us to become overblown in our left brain to figure out the next rent, the next this, and the next that, when the whole planet is moving at light speed to a place where this body that you are looking at me, listening at me, and experiencing this black think tank is not necessary and not relevant to the next time. Why are you holding on? What is a man?
Impeccable question and answer.
Ah, here we go. Man is the impeccable question as he evolves in the impeccable answer. And with each answer, another question is invoked by his actions within impeccability. Can man become detached enough from what he does and what he has programmed to be to come into the knowing of who he is in the stillness of being, in the isness of being? Man is a composite of the universe. Man is the protector, the molder, I'm just giving this out there, and the instigator of intent. Without intent, there is no exercise of will. The will of the people has died. No one has asked why. Because the containment for will, the active principle and dynamic of intent, has been feminized. You don't want to solve shit. You don't want to do nothing. And the welfare state turns you that way. Thinking is dangerous. Thinking becomes a problem. Most of your best thinkers were your criminals, because they at least were using their minds and brains to do something with it. But niggas in politics, niggas on the pulpit, those are the most useless of God's gray matter thinkers on the planet. They do nothing to forward the spiritual intent of the cosmos. With that, I'm going to take a moment for you to saturate with that, to marinate with it, and we'll be back. Got the flyer, I believe it's here, the flyer for the vaccination deferment information, and for the life path. The number to contact, or the numbers to contact, are as follows: 718-264-9497, and the other one is area code 914-592-2221. That's the Heal by Touch. 914. Yeah, 592-2221. That's Heal by Touch. That's Nalani Sotnati Ra's organization. She's a natural. 264-9497. Now I know that everybody's getting back into school and all of that, so if you know of anyone who wants to have a consultation for a vaccination package, tell them to give me a call.
That's a mosquito.
He's been here a long time.
Or even a call.
That's a mosquito.
He's been here a long time.
Or he been around. It might be a he. That's why he ain't bit nobody yet. No, only the she bites. So if he ain't bit you yet, then it's a he. All right. Thank you very much for coming back. And the place where we left off was, I believe, a very wonderful place. Thank you very much for participating in that a pet exercise of mine, where I kind of set you guys up and for the lesson plan. But I think that you all are marvelous in the way I think that you all were marvelous in the way that your attention, which is one of the most important attributes of mind, is the ability to pay attention. Remember how we emphasized how paying attention is actually you sacrificing that part of your own conscious light in order to gather more light. So when you pay attention, you pay the highest price. Okay? And that's what we are doing here today. And thank you very much for paying attention. I want to, after we've discussed, or at least began the first stages of discussing the question, what is a man? Again, that is an impeccable question which the universe automatically begins to try to conform to give the impeccable answer, as the brother was speaking about. So in our quest for impeccability, in our definitions of the world, we must first not answer what we think, because our thoughts are colonized. So immediately you're going to answer what you've been conditioned to think. When we begin to analyze such profound questions, such impeccable questions as what is a man or what is a woman, you cannot answer on the reactive mind, because then you are answering from a very shallow end of the pool. When someone asks you profound questions, that is the time to not reflect on what it is that you think you know, but to become still. That's the trap. That's the trap. Thought never wants to die. So every thought that you have thought about, that you have cataloged in your mind, every thought that you have brought to you for comfort, every thought that you've come to you to agitate you, to give you pleasure, the more you put your focus of attention on it, the greater its lifespan, and the stronger it has an influence over you. So the more you think about something, the greater strength it has. So immediately when you asked a powerful question, boom, you go to that strength. That thought immediately wants to manifest itself, because you are the thought and the thought is you. But thought is a thing, and it becomes a living principle. It does not want to die. So here I am before you today, actually speaking to the wall, brick by brick, of thoughts that you've erected to form your perception. So what I am, now when I speak to that wall, I'm just going to get back the reflection of what those bricks were harmoniously set in place to make you feel comfortable. So when I speak to that, I'm speaking to something that is comfortable, it's sure, it's stabilizing for you. The thought feels comfortable when it answers and verifies itself. No. The most uncomfortable thing in our search for truth, actually the reality that is in truth, is when you still the thoughts that you have become comfortable with. When you no longer give them the ability to answer for you. Because you are not the one that's answering. The observer takes a back seat to thought. And thought begins to react in order to protect the observer. Because the observer has built a catalog of thoughts that don't cross against the light, eat this, or don't eat this, or you get... So all these factoids are in there, and the observer is hiding behind all these things that they navigate the world with. But the most dangerous thing for
thought is when the observer no longer depends on it. Because it is in the catalog of thoughts that the beasthood and those entities who deal with the synthetic synchronicity, they use the thoughts to orchestrate your world. So when you stop thinking, which is like, oh my God, that's like, you're kidding. No, I'm not. The thought process is the first thing that must be sacrificed if you are to go beyond the thresholds that thought has created to keep you in lockdown. So when I say to you, what is a man? I just immediately got all the walls throwing the bricks of what they knew at me. This, that, this, that, this, that. That's because the conditioning is there. And this is what you're going through. You're going through a decompression, a deprogramming at this point. So that question still lingers because it's an answer that unfolds. It's not something that you get and grasp immediately. It is to provoke you beyond your thinking. It is to show you what thoughts can do to trap you. That's why I asked that question. There is an answer, but the answer unfolds. It doesn't present itself. It evolves as you do. The man is an indefinable reality in which there strides an unknowable being. You see. And it is that unknowable being in the self-definition, in the journey of that, that's what we want to explore. The doer, you can always find him. The thinker, you can access him. But the knower, once you come to the understanding of the knower, then the doer and the thinker are no longer slaves to whoever it is that decodes what locks them down. And that's what's been happening with men. Men have been estranged from the knower being within them. We don't know who we are. We act upon what we've been conditioned to believe. We have remnants of the Piscean age lodged within us, like a thorn. And you know that by the Piscean age, the mandate is, I believe. We are in the so-called Aquarian age, which is the age of Hapi. And what is the mandate for that? I know. So if the mandate for the Aquarian time is I know, then it is the knower. Not what you think you know.
Break it down.
Check?
Check.
So we must now harness the thinker. We must grab the thinker by the throat and shut it up. We must get into knowing mode. And that comes from stillness. But first, I cannot actually take you on the journey to that place as men until we have gone through a catharsis. Your present activity is based upon an inebriation of your intellect. You no longer use intellect to search for intelligence. Your intellect, being colonized, has been used to become the bucket or the cesspool or the drainage area for facts that masquerade as intelligence. You got assholes in schools that are up there with PhD and all those things behind their names who don't know shit from Shinola. Have no, not one, like your boy Pickett, does not have one iota of intuitive, cosmically sponsored intelligence. Or he would not have done what he did. These are the people that we now have created as our threshold. We created these idiots. So now, with the crippling of our consciousness as an entity, we see the generational decline
and depreciation of our cosmic wellness. We are not people yet fully apprised of the... So now, with the crippling of our consciousness as an entity, we see the generational decline and depreciation of our cosmic wellness. We are not people yet fully apprised of the level of, I guess, what's the word? Damage. Generational damage. Good. That we have suffered. But what I'm going to do now for us is I'm going to take us into a kind of a dark matter retrospective. In this dark matter retrospective, we are constantly given the pain of others, the pain of Jews. We're given the pain of the Armenians, and every time our pain is given, everybody says, bullshit. That's the past. Leave it alone, get over it, nobody, you know, you're here now, America has given you all the benefits of her. Which is why we will never get reparations to match the level of our experience. What price our experience? Yes, there is no price. How do you even think to fix a price? Just hand over the country.
Thank you.
We have to become more aware of the fact that the institutions that we are asking for reparations from are bankrupt. There is no thing that belongs to any government here in the United States. There's nothing that belongs to us or them. It belongs to us. It is in trust right now, and there's someone who is in the trust, who's running the trust, that's keeping us down, and that is the Queen of England through the Pope and the Vatican. This whole thing that we're looking at cannot be given reparations. You can't get reparations calling yourself an African American. You want to know why? Nothing like that exists. And what you have done, listen carefully, brothers and sisters, and to all the people in the reparation movement. If you call yourself an African American, you are calling yourself an immigrant. Let me say that again. When you call yourself an African American, you call yourself an immigrant of immigrant sources. Therefore, you weren't born here. You are actually defined by the first word in the phrase, making you an immigrant. You take on immigrant status when you call yourself African American, which was fine because, again, a people searching for self-identity begins to experiment with different words and names until they find the right one. Well, you are indigenous, not only to this land, but to the planet. Anywhere you take your shoes off and walk on our Mother Earth is yours. Everyone else are perpetrators. Everyone else are aliens. Everyone else are sovereigns. You are not a sovereign. You can never be a sovereign. You can deal with sovereign status as a name that is given to you so that you may travel freely, but you are not sovereign. If you're sovereign, that is a privilege. You don't deal with privileges. Your people deals with natural law, natural rights. So all your words that you use to identify yourself, just the way you identify what you thought was a man, by the definition of man, are things that these COINTELPRO bastards throw in the mix for you to pick up because they train the Negroes through the boule to give you what you need to talk amongst yourselves with. Calling yourself black, Negro, African American, Native American. You are indigenous. Period. I am native born to the planet and to this place. I have been in America long before you were walking upright. The continental drift, I will find my history or my story back before the continents divided. Amexem, America, Americua, land of the great winds, Turtle Island, all of that, Africa, you could fit them right together with South America. It was all one, Pangaea, Atlantis, whatever you want to call it. And we walked this earth barefooted. We were the scientists of the planet. We were everything of the planet, and it was taken from us. We gave it up. We degenerated, essentially. So I'm saying that in this retrospective, we have to examine and go through a kind of a catharsis as to who we were and who we are. But we can't dwell on who we were, because who we were is who we are. And the problem is we are caught in time, and we were timeless beings. So to get caught up with, yeah, we were slaves and we're this, there you go, feeding the reality. Now we got us as kings, yes, because the hip-hop brothers are saying kings, queens, yes, boom. Hey, but they're down with bitches and niggas and all that, hoes. We are beyond time. It is good to speak of our great times and to know about great times and to talk about our pain. But who we were then is who we are now. We don't have to attain it. It is already us. All we have to do is stop what we're doing. And everything comes rushing like it's been following us. You ever start the car and you have something trailing? It's good. By momentum alone, it'll smack us right in the back of our heads. It's physics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you through a visual retrospective of the masculine principle. And this visual retrospective is to kind of offset, not meaning any derogatory things to sisters, but to offset what has been happening to the melanated dark matter male, the other half of your equation, as the feminine yin principle. And I want you to understand that what is overt now has become covert. And the same pictures that you see in your mind happening to the body, know that it is happening to his mind. Every day, subtly, subconsciously, subliminally, this very same thing is happening to your brothers around the world. I want you to understand, can you have the lights out, please, for a minute there? Right above? Yes. Well, we didn't give it up more than we lost it because we lost ourselves.
Okay, that's what I want to ask.
Yeah.
Why would you give it up?
Okay, yeah, that's a cosmic question. Yeah, the light above. Yeah, the cosmic questions. I don't remember the name of this brother. Sarnetta, I want to let you know, gave me these pictures. And they have been extremely profound pictures, because what they do is they go back into the archives, my consciousness records of myself and my family, and what it has done to me and my ancestors, to cripple me and my ancestors, because the same things were happening in the West Indies that were happening here on this island. It was happening all over the world, in England, every place else. Lynching and the killing of the black male was, I believe, the beginning of the ascendancy of the matriarchal world. And I'm very, very, I always look at the metaphysics of a thing. And I first and foremost, which I'm probably going to repeat here, to tell you that Africa, that which is called Africa, was never matriarchal. It just blows my mind for anyone to believe that while living in the matriarchal society that we're living in under feminism, that Africa somehow reflected this. No way. You cannot begin
any universe, any solar system without a sun. You cannot begin life without the masculine principle. So all civilizations begin with the masculine paternal system. To surrender that, to say that we started as a matriarchal mother principle because they are reading the end part of our fall as a civilization, right. What we became when we converted to matriarchism. At the very time we were destroyed. Is that a clue?
That's right. That's right.
What history are we reading today about Africa except what we were, and at the time, what happened when we fell? Are we examining what kind of people or what race of people and under what system they followed that conquered us? We have not yet taken the electromagnetic yin-yang, male-female dynamics of how the whole universe works, because a lot of our brothers have been feminized. Even the most intelligent ones that are out there speaking of chem and all of that, they have become feminized in their thinking. And they think that the worship of the female principle is what all of us did in Africa. No. That's not necessary to understand. It's not necessarily what it is that was being taught by the information that our ancestors left. The feminine principle does not become enhanced without the masculine principle. It's stupid to even think of that. The fact that women were part of the king-making process, that's natural. But to say that she ruled, no. To say that man worshipped woman as God, no. Something happened if man is worshiping something other than himself as God. And something happens to woman when she worships something other than herself as God. We are not reading the information correctly. Africa could not have stood for the years that I know metaphysically it stood, some 150,000 years, without the masculine principle being the guide and the foundation for the feminine principle to grow and flourish. To erase the masculine principle as some form of secondary act of nature, that's suicide, brothers. And I'm saying to all you teachers out there who are pushing the female in front of you, that's the same shit white people did when they take women and put them through the doors first. That's an exercise subconsciously and psychosomatically when they would be pushing them women and children overboard when the ships were going down so the sharks would eat them first. How could you put your woman through fucking doors in a place you have not been in to check to see whether she's in danger? That's the white man.
That's right. Teach.
How could you put your woman through fucking doors in a place you have not been in to check to see whether she's in danger? That's the white man.
That's right. Teach.
Your woman is behind you in places when you don't know what's going on. That's when your male instinct comes out for danger. Women can sense danger only after the man has left her presence. After that, in her own innate nature, she defers it to the man. In Vietnam, brothers were telling me that they would put the brothers in point when they go in country. Because the brothers had the 6th, 7th, and 8th sense to know when somebody was out there. You have diminished the black man or the male principle in your life, sisters, and that's why you suffer. We have diminished ourselves because we refuse to search for ourselves anymore. Well, this has been what has happened to us as males, because psycho-spiritually, I'm not talking about the physical pain. We got to stop with the physical pain. This is temporary shit. It's not about the body. It's about the spirit. What has happened to us as a concentric consciousness of dark matter that we come to suffer like this? What is a man? This same man was paraded. They said he stood like a king. Didn't say a word. Showed no emotions.
They said about it when they articulated it, his statues. This, especially for our sisters, I want to imprint upon your psyche what it is that men are suffering psychospiritually today. The physicality of our pain, suffering, our castrations, our mutilations and everything has become an internal process at this time. We've constantly, no doubt, we've studied the feminine psyche because you went through the same shit, but we have overstudied it. Reason why now we are not moving forward is because we have not studied the man. It is he that's going to take us out of this shit. And if we do not raise warriors, the next generation will be slaves again. So unless your man rises, you continue to fall, sister. Remember, I am showing you this as archetypal imprints for you to overstand and convert in your mind that there is a psycho-spiritual war, and his soul and his spirit is just as damaged. You too, brothers, overstand that. And this is something where we come to terms with it, because as brothers, there are no tears. We can't. Our manhood was never for tears, because as Africans, we never cried. There was no need to. What tears? If we did cry, it was at a time when, boom, okay, the passing of a loved one, a great king or a great queen, boom, and it was over because we knew the ancestors had them. But this constant suffering and tears and crying, that's pathological. Babies not supposed to cry. They argue, but you're supposed to be a mother with the instincts to precognitively know what the next thing the child is going to do. That's your feminine instinct. That is why you're so good with languages, they say. Because you're supposed to decode what a baby can't say. You know cues, your social cues, your skills. It's supposed to know exactly what I'm feeling when I give a facial. The woman knows because she is wired to overstand actions and facial cues, which is in her nature she's supposed to now help to ameliorate. The men deal with words. That's why we read. We deal with words because we were constantly articulating and trying to decipher the universe. We couldn't do it because you weren't wired that way, and you were raising the next generation to go further than the one sitting there calculating the universe. That is why, and I tell this, those people who wrote about the mother principle being all that we worship, you have to understand that as above, so below. Check? When a baby is born, who is God to that baby? The mother. Understand what I'm saying? God is mother. Check? That nipple is contact with the universe. It's like right there at the central sun. You carry two aspects of the sun right here because it's the font of not only love. You don't have a breast down by here or on your back. It's right over your heart. To transmit not only milk, but the energy that created the milk. So when I'm articulating and breaking down the universe so I can make it a more paradisal place for you, you are filling in the spots that I may not even be paying attention to. But don't fault me because I don't pay attention. I'm paying attention to something greater. You're supposed to pay attention to the little things. You're supposed to bring me back by things that you do and place in front of me to notice, to see you, beautiful as you are. Oh, wow. Hey. You know, those things are very important. The aesthetics of relationship, which is something we can talk about later on down the line. But again, we are speaking about how it is that the imprint of who we are has not yet, as men, been given to the wider melanated community as a man. When we as men automatically talk about us, we include women. So we always say us. So because we are provider protectors, we would never leave you out of anything. We say, we're going forward to freedom, men. Forward to the people. Power to the people. We ain't saying power to men. Up men. Yes, men. How do we as Africans ever say it without our women? That's stupid. How is it then, sister, you can say that shit in reverse? I am woman, hear me roar. What is that dumb shit? And that is a discontented white woman with a lot of money and nothing to do. And again, this is not excusing all the things that we have done as men in our own pathological states. This is to just tell you as it is from our side. This same brother-looking brother, this is what he looked like after a while. So, burned alive. Understanding that the suffering that we're dealing with, the fact that who we were as warrior men, as men who wanted to express ourselves, as those who created civilizations that broke down the dark matter consciousness into what they talk about, Newtonian and Einsteinian laws and all that shit. That shit is kindergarten shit compared to what we did. This is what we became afterwards. What happened? What happened? As we move forward, we begin to see that right down here, it looked like it's right down the block that this happened. We see this brother. How do you leave a brother like that hanging from a tree? What kind of mindset? Who are these people that we chose as our executioners? What part of us became cancerous enough to express itself as this? What was the price that we agreed to pay to keep this world stabilized? How and where were we when we signed the contract to become the scapegoats of the planet? Because you do this when you really hate yourself. How is it that you could gather around the way we take pictures to actually have pride in this situation? 1919, this is the last century. Not too long ago, people. Do you think that we are not still in the wake of that very specific journey that we're dealing with at this point? And I don't think that we actually see it from the men's point of view, because again, collectively as a people, we are taught communality. And communality is how we move forward. But since they have dissected us so that we could study ourselves, we have now had to do something that we did not need to do extrospectively, but we knew introspectively. We knew about the feminine principle because we lived in tune with nature. We knew about the masculine principle because we lived in tune with the cosmos. But now, since the cosmos has been removed from us, and we have a blanket of rhetoric and bullshit called religion, which has relegated the true consciousness dictates of the stars to stories in a book that have been interpreted by a few people that make you believe that there was somebody called Jesus the Christ. Everybody back there, give it up for Brother Shabazz, one man. Brothers who make you believe, as it stands right now, those who make you believe that Jesus walked the earth. And we so haphazardly mention it as if it's a second nature matter of fact. Yeah, he walked the earth. But, I saw the nigga, he down on 123rd Street. We talk to ourselves about Jesus as if the motherfucker really existed. The conditioning we have steeped into to call some white man's God our God. To have embraced your oppressor through his God. To call it haphazardly. To go to church and call on the apostles. Talk about the wondrous works
I mean, it's the height of pimpology. Psychological pimpology. Every time you mention the word Jesus, your subconscious that went through the shit with the master that gave you that name to worship, you fall back. You stay still. Any black man or black woman, any Melanite who takes Jesus as their God, accept Jesus as your Savior, and you ain't got to do shit for yourself again. That's the ultimate welfare check. That's spiritual welfare. The motherfucker's pulling. He's promoting spiritual welfare. Accept this card, and you ain't got to work. You may have to do a few little things like sweep the street, but you ain't got to really work. You can see Jesus just tithe and say the name, and it's bullshit. They took the real church out of you. Gave you a white boy first, and then now you say, well, I'm going to dress him up as black. This one is particularly profound because it looks like he was crucified. And of course you see your smiling cave dwellers.
He was shot over 1,000 times.
Yeah, no
over
doubt.
1,000 rounds.
Yeah, no doubt. This is just psycho-spiritual inference. This brother was hanging there so long that his eye began to stink. The guy's holding his nose, and it wasn't just one at a time. This was done in picnic settings. That's what the picnic situation is. It's called pick a nigga. Pick a nigga and kill him. Murder. And they call us murderers. It's in their psyche. They're the cancer of the planet, which is the deep part of it. There are a few redeemable ones that may have caught the cure because, like that little girl, she's singing black music and tuning in to the black frequencies. But some of them finding out that they need to redeem themselves. And they're trying to find their way back, but they have nothing to latch onto because they're not spiritual creatures. They got to come and tap into you. So they hang us. It look like Prospect Park. No doubt there probably was some stuff going on in Prospect Park too. And